whispered, tense. They tried to silence him, tried to erase him, tried to bury the truth beneath their lies. But the truth cannot be chained, the word cannot be broken. Yeshua, nailed to the wood, crown of thorns, pressed down, blood running. Heavy, dripping into the soil, into history, into every generation that will come after. And we, listen, we rise as the watchmen, Warsheep, not sheep to be led, but warriors. Every gospel, every promise, every truth, we guard it like our lives depend on it, because it does. They mocked him, they laughed, they spat, they said, this man is nothing. But Yahweh said, he is everything. And so we fight, not with fists alone, not with fire alone, but with the word. The streets, the shadows, the lies, we confront them all. Do you hear me? From the cross to the corners of the world, the message survives. Every whisper of injustice, every lie dressed as truth, we see it. And we rise, Warsheep rise, through pain, through blood, through fire. The spirit marches on. Crown of thorns, blood of the king. We bear the scars. Guard the word, guard the word. No chains, no fear, no compromise. Yeshua reigns while the fallen despise. Warsheep, rise. Beat drops heavier, music swells. Now the fight begins, and the truth cannot be stopped.
I see the wolves in the pulpit. I see the silver tongue selling death like it's mercy. But Yahweh is my fortress, Yeshua is my sword, and I am awake. I was blind, led by liars in velvet robes, counting my pain like coins, stacking my woes. They whispered faith, but it was bondage and chains, preaching heaven, delivering only my pains. I've walked through shadows, through valleys of the dead, where every step I took, they cursed my head. But I saw the light, I placed in my eyes, saw through the lies, now I rise, I rise. Yahweh is my light, yeah. Yeshua is my shield, yeah. False shepherds fall back, your lies won't be revealed. I'm standing in the fire, walking in the storm. I'm calling on Yahweh, and I'm fully reborn. Silver tongues dripping with fraud and greed, preying on sheep, planting false seed. You talk of blessings, but your hands are foul. I spit truth like thunder, I howl at the hour. I learn patience, I learn wrath, I learn the grind. Your kingdom of shadows will never confine. I move like the lion, relentless, unbowed. Yahshua my king and I roar it loud. Wait on Yahweh, wait and rise. See the wicked fall before your eyes. The night is heavy, the wolves are near, but Yahshua's light makes their lies disappear. Fear, never shame, I spit it out. The Lord is my power, I walk without doubt. Yahweh is my light, yeah. Yeshua is my shield, yeah. False shepherds fall back, your lies won't be revealed. I'm standing in the fire, I'm walking in the storm. I'm calling on Yahweh, and I'm fully reborn. Hear me, you wolves in holy disguise. Your empire of lies ends tonight. I am the sword, I am the voice. Yahweh is my light, Yahshua is my choice. Sheep talk, no lions roar. Yahweh is my light, Yahshua is my shield. False shepherds fall back. Your lies won't be revealed.
I see a man on the stage, but the truth looks small. Preaching heavy with the mask, but the faith gon' fall. Claiming kingdom in the wilderness, building walls, but I break bread with the truth. I don't stall, you talk shepherd, but you lead sheep blind. I design faith with a Yahweh given mine. Your empire's just a hustle, dollar signs in disguise. But I walk with the light, and it cut through the lies. I don't bow to a fake crown, no robe, no staff, can't hold me down. I'm a storm in the temple, turn the tables around. Truth too loud, can't silence the sound. See, I'm chosen, blueprint, heaven's on design. You just copy from the book, but forget the spine. I don't need no code to define my shine. I'm the architect of freedom, I redraw the lines. You preach power, but it's fear that you sell. A wolf in the cloth, but the sheep know well. I don't follow men, only Yahweh. I compel every kingdom built on sand, always ends when it fell. I'm the truth in the rhythm, the proof in the sound. I shake the whole system when my words come down. They claiming they the saints, but they playing the clown. I'm the trumpet in the end, watch the walls fall down. So keep your titles, your stage, and your claim. I'm eternal flame, can't box my name. You a footnote, I'm a whole new page. And the truth never dies, it just steps off stage.
All right. Shalom, shalom. Let me mute this real quick. Hopefully all is well. Testing, testing. All right. Let me make sure that I'm not going to have a bunch of back feed. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. Welcome back to the Warsheep podcast. Listen, we got quite a bit that we need to cover today. I decided to go live today because tomorrow we're actually doing a speaking event, y'all. We're actually doing a speaking event tomorrow. So this is the reason why. Hopefully all is well with you guys. We're going to dive into this topic here today. Bless you. Shalom, shalom. Listen, we got quite a few things to go over. I really want to first address a couple things, right? And I got to take care of this. But before, of course, we have the state of mind, not only the people, right, within the community, but also the people of the community and how things are transpiring, honestly, relationship-wise. When we're dealing with other individuals, how is that coming about, right? And I really want to touch on a few topics in regards to that. Man, I got to turn off the sound over there. But we're going to go ahead and shut it off in a minute. Hopefully you all are doing well, like I said before. Now, we got some things to shed light on, okay, in regards to this whole situation. First, I'm going to start, of course, with the situation with Dave Anderson. And we're going to dive into the conversation of that. And then we're going to move on to the next topics that we have. But honestly, when I see all of this, I see a lot of misconception, misunderstandings. And honestly, some individuals are here and willing to give forth some of the more appropriate information for us to be able to thrive as a people. And you have other individuals who are looking to make excuses for all of their shortcomings, all the things that they're not able to accomplish, all the things that they've been done that have done wrong. They're looking to actually make excuses for it and try to make it seem as though the claims are invalid. Right? I'm here to give my own personal perspective as to what's taking place right here, right now on the Warsheep podcast. Where we believe in shedding light, because light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and that patience will create unity. So let's get unified in the spirit, y'all.
Sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
All right. So y'all give me a little bit of time. Let me know how I'm sounding out there. We're going to do a sound check. Make sure everything's coming in just fine, y'all. Appreciate you guys coming in. Does your broadcasting program support multiple mics? I believe so. Maybe that's the problem, right? Is that I got this mic picking up my audio as well. Okay. All right. So let's make sure I'm gonna stay communicative. I'm gonna stay looking at the chat here. I want to be sure. We're gonna go ahead and go into our shout outs here real quick, y'all. So for all my righteous alpha men, drop a ram in the chat for me, please. And all my elegant women who's exceptional, drop a sheep in the chat for me, please. Like I said, we're gonna get this ball rocking and rolling, y'all. Can y'all hear me? Now that's ringing, right? Okay, I gotta turn that down, get that audio off. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into it. All right, my brother Odell, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. Good to see you in this, my good brother. Good to see you. Sister Rose, bless you, my sister. Welcome in, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. Season Sojourning, bless you. Shalom, shalom. Good to see you in this thing. Welcome and shalom, shalom. All right, bro Vic, welcome in, my brother. Bless you and shalom. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. My mother, Mama Shay, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. All right, Mama Clay, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing, Mama Clay. Bless you and shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get this ball rocking and rolling. Honestly, tell you the truth, this first topic we're going to definitely dive into is definitely been a blessing to listen in on. I believe that, you know, being able to shed some light on this particular topic is going to be a privilege because, you know, we all need to hear the perspective of others, right? Once we start to listen in on the perspective of others, we can be able to really make some real sound choices and decisions as to what the truth is, from separating the truth from falsehoods, right? Separating the truth from falsehoods. What is reality? Sister Amy, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom, my sister. Bless you. What is truth? What is reality? What is factual? What is lies? You know, separating making a difference, distinct differences between them. You understand? And so we're going to try to do the best we can here real quick because honestly, man, I got to get my charger for my laptop, but it's fine because I have a backup if I can't get the charger in time. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this thing real quick. This first topic in conversation, literally, I came across this thing and it was a great conversation that was had, y'all. I believe this thing is going to definitely be a blessing to not only just myself, but also to you all as well. Honestly, what is going on currently with the state of mind of our community, the women within the community, right? When I look on here, a lot of times I see what a lot of the melanated women, right, that's in the Hebrew Israelite community and also all throughout the community, okay, they are saying. It's almost as though the men in our community do not deserve respect. It's almost as though we don't deserve respect. We don't deserve honor, to be honored. We don't deserve to have or receive any of these things from our women. And I'm not saying all of them, right? Just like when I make these statements, it doesn't apply to you, then if it don't apply, then let it fly, right? Because if it don't apply to you, then I'm not speaking to you, right? Because you don't fit that bill. But the individuals who it do fit, right? The ones who are giving others a bad name, right? Or leaving a bad taste on other people's mouth in regards to the community, in regards to everything that's happening and taking place. We have to be very understanding that the women appear as though, a lot of them, not all of them, right? There's a group of them that just don't feel like men deserve respect and honor. And I just really want to shed light on that because it's a mindset. It's a mindset that stems from some of the darkest parts of our history, right? And our culture, where a lot of these women who did not feel that they were adequately protected are provided for, right? And you can definitely say that there's been some influence coming from the intergovernmental system, massive influence, right? Because if you want to have the government benefits, then you need to have a broken home. In order to receive the benefits from the U.S. government, from daddy government, you have to have a broken home. And this is what's encouraged within the communities, right? And it's mostly focused on the Black community, or so-called Black community, the melanated community, but that also goes for all communities that wishes to receive any benefits or privileges. They're not exempt from it. If they have to receive it, they're not really exempt from it. But does their culture support it? No. It seems like the melanated community and our culture, right, that we support the disrespect, the dishonor of not only our beautiful women, our melanated women, our queens, but we also support the disrespect and the dishonor of the men in the community. And it seems and appears as though in the Western culture, Western society, in America here, we are the only ones who actually take this position. This is what it really does seem like, right? Whereas where all other cultures, they seem as though as they hold each other's in high regards. They be sure that they don't disrespect or dishonor each other. We're the only ones who are having really strenuous conversations, right, about each other in open format, right, and how bad one another truly is. How ain't nothing men out here in regards to the Black community, and ain't shit women out here, right, in regards to the Black community. Now, that's something that really needs to stop. It's something that really needs to stop, and we need to do better in, because I don't, envy what they're able to do. I personally believe that it's a form of motivation. I'm motivated for our community to adapt the same behaviors of supporting one another with a vigor and understanding to not speak against each other in open format, or to support somebody who wishes to degrade or degrade our women and put them and hypersexualize them, right? And also, not only that, the women holding each other accountable, and for the young women who want to hypersexualize themselves, bringing shame back into play in regards to our culture. My thing is that why would you want to bring shame to your family name? nobody considers this anymore within this particular community, but other communities, of course, they do have their own problems and issues, but they're not so much scrutinized and publicized as the melanated and Black communities are. And I can mostly relate to the melanated and Black community because I am melanated. I am a Black man, so-called Black man, right? But I want to shed light on this because I believe, like I said, the conversation was absolutely warranted. First thing that I want to do is I want to get into a video that was recently dropped. Before we get into this interview, okay, I want to get into a video that was recently dropped by Jason Wilson, okay? And I believe that it was a blessing. And if you guys missed it, you guys definitely need to go over there and catch this recent one. Honestly, this one applies to all communities. It's not just melanated communities, because even though they don't publicize a lot of their problems and issues, right? All communities have issues with the women being able to have some sort of level of respect for the men in the private, not controlling them, not dominating them. These are signs of disrespect. You understand what I'm saying? In other communities, you know? And so, while all communities have their own personal issues, like I said, Black melanated community is the one that is highly publicized, is most talked about in public format. You understand what I'm saying? Yep, the red pill community. Yep, the red pill community has been infiltrated by upset people. Yeah, and there's a lot going on with the red pill community as well. You know what I'm saying? You spot on with that. I want to go ahead and dive into this real quick because honestly, it's so important, y'all. Man, let's get into this thing. As I let this play, I'm going to let this play, and I'm going to see if I can find my charger. Be sure that this laptop don't stop on me, you know, because it'll die in a half a second without a charge. Y'all know how these HPs and things go, right? They just don't keep a battery life for nothing. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this thing. Let's get to it. Let's get to it, y'all.
Shalom, my brothers. I truly pray all is well with you and your families. Today, I want to address something that corrodes the very foundation of countless homes: disrespect from the woman a man loves. For years, we've been told that women need love and men need respect, as if the Creator Most High divided these essentials between genders. That's complete nonsense. Both love and respect are oxygen for the human soul. One cannot flourish where the other is withheld. But here's the tragedy, my brothers. Many men have conditioned or have been conditioned to endure the slow suffocation of being disrespected by the woman he loves. Instead of confronting the decay, he buries it under silence. He convinces himself that peace is maintained by avoidance, but avoidance is not peace, my brothers. It's actually paralysis. And so the man retreats, sometimes physically, after the children are grown and the house is empty. He files for divorce with the same calmness he once used to suppress his pain and disappointment. Other times he never leaves at all. He just checks out. He numbs himself with alcohol, drugs, or the hollow comfort of artificial intimacy. And at the core of it all is fear. Not fear of confrontation in a physical sense, but fear of exposure. And what I mean by that, the terror of admitting that his wife's tone, her words, her disregard actually wounds him emotionally. Because deep down, he's been taught, like every man, that a man who feels pain is weak, even physical pain. We're taught young that no pain, no gain. But somewhere inside of us, we know that's a lie. We see it play out in sports. If your star athlete, or just say quarterback, tears his ACL, you don't throw him back in the game. You take him out of the game until he can rehab. But for some reason, we've allowed this world to define us as men, and as a result, many of us have lost our lives. But the truth is, my brothers, it's that this stoicism or this silence doesn't make you strong. It actually makes you disappear. A man must learn to speak, not with aggression, but with assertiveness and authority, not with pride, but with presence. Because until you confront the disrespect that devalues you, you'll keep living beneath the weight of what you refuse to face. And what makes it all worse is the misleading mantras you've been conditioned your whole life to believe. Never let her see you sweat. Happy wife, happy life. That's the classic. Or the one that we often miss, but subconsciously hits us, is when we hear our wives or the woman in our lives referred to as the better half. Men, you've been sold mantras that sound noble, but are actually poison, because they make you believe your thoughts and your feelings don't matter in marriage or a relationship. And if you believe that long enough, you will start living like it. The Bible says there's nothing worse than living in a house with a contentious woman. And I like to add, there's nothing worse than having to check your heart out of the home you live in. That slow emotional withdrawal, that quiet erosion of connection happens when a woman's dominance or disrespect become the atmosphere of your home. And a man convinces himself that it's just not worth the fight to confront that behavior. Well, my brothers, you have to understand that peace is not the absence of conflict. That's actually passivity. Solitude in your home comes from addressing what needs to be addressed, so that resentment doesn't become the new foundation of your relationship. I can't count many times that Nicole and I would have conflict, and it's because I was offended or she was offended by something we either said, but we chose to stop sweeping our issues under the rug, to confront things head on. And as a man, I can't tolerate disrespect, especially from the ones that I love. And what honor is it to have respect outside of your home, but when you come home, you feel disrespected and even dishonored? This is why it's imperative as men that we speak up when we feel disrespected. And here are 8 action steps you can take to resolve disrespect from your wife or the woman in your life. And this also can apply to your own children in your home. Action step number 1, decide if it's worth the fight. When I say fight, I'm not talking about shouting matches or physical altercations. I'm talking about the willingness to engage, to confront, or even when you know your wife may get upset, even cry, or react strongly, you still speak the issue. You can't continue, my brother, to allow the fear of her reaction keep you from having the conversation. But before you step into this, you need to decide, is this relationship worth the effort? Now, if you're married, it's definitely worth it. If you're not married, you need to examine and really think through, is this relationship worth saving, or is all of this conflict actually a sign from the Most High that I need to escape this before I can commit to something that could be detrimental to my life and, more importantly, His will for my life? If the answer is yes, that it is worth it, and you want to give it another honest try, then it's time for you to take this next step. Action step number 2, deal with you. Before you point the finger, my brother, you have to turn the hand around. Ask yourself, why did I let this go on for so long? What caused you, my brother, to sweep so many issues under the relationship rug? Was it fear of conflict? Was it a belief planted early in life that women can't be trusted with your emotions or your thoughts? I remember a brother once telling me, never give a woman your heart, not even your wife. And when I told my father, actually, that I wanted to marry Nicole, his first words were, why in the hell would you want to do that? When you grow up, my brothers, hearing lies and negativity like that, they create patterns in your brain. You start believing women are not safe spaces for you to be transparent with or transparent in. And so even when your heart is aching and your mind is ready to check out of the relationship, you bite your tongue, thinking that's the manly thing to do. That's not manhood, that's emotional incarceration. Action step number 3, change your perspective on peace. If you equate peace with avoiding conflict, you will lose your voice in your home and in life. Every time you don't speak up, you give up not just your worth, but your peace of mind. Peace without truth is compromise. It's just quiet oppression. To maintain peace in your relationship, you have to be willing to call out disrespect every time. That doesn't mean, my brothers, that you call out small annoyances. Please understand that will wear your wife or the woman in your life down. Imagine if everything you did, there was always a complaint or a judgment. We can't operate in that space either. But it does mean refusing to allow a pattern of behavior that erodes the foundation of love and respect. Action step number 4, control your emotions in conflict. This is where a lot of men lose the battle. You have a valid point. You rehearsed it in your head. You're ready to bring it up, but then the emotions rise. You start raising your voice. You start to get sarcastic. You start swinging your words like you're wielding a sword instead of building your case like a lawyer. And now, instead of having to address her behavior, you're the one apologizing for how you communicated to her about her.
I mean, how many of us is guilty of this, right? Like, guilty of addressing things in a very inappropriate way with a significant other, honestly. And I think that a lot of us men, especially in the melanated community, we got to understand how to take accountability when we're addressing our woman in a way that's probably not very mature of us, right? Or that is, how do I put this? Not mature, but very immature and also emotionally driven. Whereas to where we should be logical about what we're doing. You know, I know that I can be guilty of that, right? In dealing with certain situations where, of course, I won't accept disrespect, and that may put me a bit over the top, right? Or it may put me in a position where I have to assert myself, right? Or be assertive during that time. Now, assertion is totally different from you having an emotional response of anger. So you got to know your emotional response of anger does not equate to you being assertive. You being assertive is speaking up for yourself, right? Like as he's talking about, you got to say something. You got to speak up. How many of us are guilty of that, right? We just got to think about it. You know what I mean? And seeing how we can be able to tame that, temper that, right? And be able to control ourselves when we are feeling that anger or feeling like you're getting angry or upset about it, frustrated about something, and telling yourself that the emotional response is not going to be the best response that's going to give you the best results. In fact, it may land you in even worse position, right? So be sure that you're being very mindful of that. Hopefully, I'm not coming across. Hopefully, I'm not getting. I don't have an echo because I'm echoing in here. But let's continue. Let's continue.
Offense against you. My brothers, hear me. You must have resolve to resolve conflict. Your composure is your credibility. The moment you lose it, you hand over the moral high ground. Action step number 5. Set the standard and keep it. Boundaries are not ultimatums. They are guardrails for respect. When you communicate your boundary calmly, clearly, and consistently, and then reinforce it with action, you teach the other person how to treat you. Always remember, a standard that's never enforced is truly just a suggestion. Action step number 6, invite her into the solution. One mistake men make is treating their wives like adversaries in these conversations or conflicts. Remember, if the relationship is worth fighting for, she's not the enemy, the disrespect is. After addressing the behavior, invite her into a conversation about how both of you can show more respect toward each other. Let her see that this is not just about you being heard, it's about building a relationship where both of you can feel valued and safe. Action step number 7, know when to seek help. If you've addressed this issue multiple times and there is no change, it may be time to bring in a counselor, a mentor, a therapist, or a spiritual advisor, not as a punishment, but as a step toward exposing lies.
Listen, and for you men out there who say that they cannot do therapy, right? And I totally get it. I understand. Of course, the Most High is our ultimate therapist, but sometimes we got to sort out some of our differences. And the reason why I'm going through this first is because we're going to go get into some controversy once we bring up this next video, but our interview or conversation. But in this one, it's just saying, laying the ground rules. Listen, this is the things that we need to accomplish. And counseling. When I first heard about counseling, in regards to talking about the issues and are any problems or issues or differences within the relationship. At first, I took a position of, I mean, what do they know, right? And this particular counselor had knowledge and was kind of, well, I guess, was familiar with polygyny, right? As of course, I believe in polygyny. I believe that the practice of polygyny is biblical. And there's no real reason to speak against it. You know what I mean? It's just no real reason. It's not an abomination. So, but this individual claimed that they did, but also he, I believe, is a Christian, right? So, you know, me personally, you know, I understand Christians to be the type of people, majority of them don't necessarily read their Bibles. The majority of them don't necessarily get in the word as much. And they don't give you sound biblical advice. They just give you what the world would not necessarily feed them to tell you. So that instantly put me off from being able to hear what the guy had to say, right? And I just kind of at one point I just kind of got intrigued, wanting to hear another's perspective, right? Somebody who has no skin in the game, who don't know me from Adam. You understand what I mean? Like, and so then I went ahead and I engaged with the idea of talking to him. I was like, you know what, let's just talk to him. You know what I mean? And before I'm like, man, he don't know nothing. This guy don't know anything, man. You know, come on, man, Christian, come on now, whatever. You know what I mean? And once I got intrigued, I got like, and you know, I was like, you know what? Maybe it'd be good to hear somebody's perspective on some of these things, to see if I'm tripping, to see if I'm on the right track, to see if I'm headed in the right direction or not. And so I did. We reached out to the individual, inquired about some of the information, because like I said, I don't know him from Adam. And when I had the conversation with him, it was very enlightening, right? Understanding how to work through certain complications, certain misunderstandings and miscommunications, right? When, you know, your significant other has a event coming up and you are a really busy guy like myself, I'm extremely busy. I got so much stuff going on at once that is difficult for me to, well, not difficult. It's a challenge for me to be able to keep up with everything. So I have to have a schedule. I have to keep a schedule. I have to be sure that I have a checklist of things to accomplish. And I'm not as available sometimes, especially recently with a lot of different launches that we're doing in business. My time has been even more limited than usual, right? So I have to be very mindful of those things. I need a schedule. One of the suggestions is that of course, significant others put your event on his calendar. Put it on the calendar. That way you're not verbally communicating with a man who's extremely busy, right? Who's moving around and actually getting things done. He's accomplishing his goals. Put it on his calendar. Let him know that it's that important for you to be able to attend that event. Make sure you get it on his calendar. Let him be able to see it physically. So that way he don't book anything else in those time slots, right? He can be able to set aside the time that's adequate that you need so you can be able to attend the event, and he can support you in the ways that he needs to show up and support you. That was some very good sound advice. But lo and behold, when I spoke to this counselor, right, in which most men believe that that's a sign of weakness when you have to speak to a counselor, I'm telling you now, it's not. I believe that it's a great way to be able to conflict resolution, great way to be able to see yourself and anything that you may have done wrong in the scenario situation. It's just a talk. I've never done it before. My first time doing it, it was a great experience, and honestly, from a very unbiased source, right, that can give great information to both parties. You know what I mean? It's not the woman who you're with saying, "Oh, this is it's because this is your friend, or this is because this is your homie, or whatever it may be." And then where she's gonna hold on to her position, even though she may be wrong, because your relationship with the individual. No, they don't know you from Adam. And it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of growth. It's a sign that you are looking to grow, that you hold growth in a high esteem, and you're looking to be sure if you're wrong, you can check yourself and get yourself on the right track, right? So let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. I'm just saying, for men, y'all, to have somebody to help counsel is not a sign of weakness. It's not something that you should avoid. If you feel like that there's some conflict or problems within, not only within your relationship or your marriage, but within yourself, listen, seek a counselor, seek somebody who can help you navigate some of the spiritual attacks, some of the spiritual attacks, some of the things that you have to overcome spiritually and physically. Have somebody to reach out to, have somebody to talk to, right? Have an outlet. It really does help when you are able to get it out your mind and on and out there, so you can be able to not only listen to yourself, right, but also be able to listen to the scenario, the situation, and have a listening ear to give you a little bit more advice on how to best navigate those situations if they got experience with it, or just to be a great support to you, right, as a man. There's a reason why we have a high self-deletion rate, and especially in Western culture, Western society. There's a real reason why, because men are taught to suppress their emotions, to hide them, to conceal them, to bury them. And it's a sign of ultimate weakness when you are not doing it and operating on that level. I'm gonna tell you now that that's a huge mistake. In fact, some of the more mature, the more strong, the more powerful men are able to emotionally express themselves and with their emotions. They can compartmentalize their emotions, meaning they can identify them, right? They can observe them, they can identify them, and they know how to best approach them. Those are some of the most powerful men that you can encounter because they understand themselves first, right? Who they are in the Father, who they are in within themselves, and how they operate and tick, right? These are some of the best communicators. Some of the best leaders are individuals who have the ability to be empathetic, who are empaths, right? So we have to understand that these things that society has taught us that is weak amongst men are not weak. They're actually is what makes you strong, is what makes you powerful. A poor leader is a leader who cannot empathize with his community. A poor leader is somebody who will not sit back and consider others before making a decision. People who have empathy, who show forth empathy, right? And who are empathetic, who are empaths, they are true leaders. They understand others. They understand their plight. You might know a few of them out there. A lot of them believe that empaths or being an empath is weakness. It's not. That's the conversation you got to have with those individuals who are empaths, right? Understanding how to regulate them, understanding how to compartmentalize the emotion and control and tame it. That is the goal. That is the burden for an empath, is to be sure that that level of understanding of others don't consume you, meaning it's not going to leave you depressed to where you don't want to do anything in life but self-delete. You got to learn how to understand that gift. This is a gift from the Most High, right? To be able to understand others and empathize with them in their position. So let's continue. Let's continue, y'all.
Truth and fostering healing. Sometimes the behavioral patterns go too deep for the two of you to work through them alone. And action step number 8, don't go to Delilah. When a man is disrespected long enough in his own home, frustration starts whispering to him. That whisper sounds like, find someone who will listen to you, bro. Find someone who will understand. You know who she is, dog. Go ahead and holler at her.
All right. So we're going to give it a few minutes. We're going to finish that up here in a minute. But based on what we've got so far, right, I want us to really be able to say this because my laptop died. So we're going to have to, my charger should be here at around 7:58, right? 7:58 or so. So I'm gonna be on the lookout for it. It's on its way. Charger's on its way, and we'll get the laptop back up. But I want us to identify these things because, like I said before, shout out to Pastor Rufus, the Honorable Pastor Rufus in the house. Bless you. Welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. And Brother Mega, my brother, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. What's up? What's up? Let's get into the chat real quick. Man, these HP laptops don't last at all when they're not on a charger full time. So one thing that I really want us to know, right, when it comes to this whole situation, like I said, we exploit ourselves, the melanated community, the Black community, right? We all have the issues. You understand what I'm saying? All communities have the problem of understanding how to respect the man, understanding all these different things and aspects. They all have the issue. Now, all communities deal with that problem on different levels, y'all. They all deal with it on different levels. If you go into a more Muslim community, listen, they know the women understand that they cannot bring shame to their family's name. And that's why I say that we have to bring shame back into our communities. We have to bring shame. You get what I'm saying? This whole slut shaming walk, right? That was led by Amber Rose, somebody who is now leaning far right, somebody now who supports Donald Trump, somebody now who supports more of a conservative movement, has done a great number of damage, and she's not even really a part of the community on that level, right? You know, she's influenced the community in this slut walk, this slut shame, this slut walk, right? And trying to normalize being sexually promiscuous. You know what I mean? And it's mostly targeting the Black community because that's who she is associated with. She's not associated with any other group, any other sect, any other community outside of the Black community. Now she's trying to rebrand and get a different image now, right? Logic 1911, welcome in, brother Angelo. Welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Now she's trying to create herself a new image, okay, y'all. And now she's done the damage, and now she's full mega, right? She's a part of the mega movement, which I don't have any issues with the mega movement, other than being sure that you hold Donald Trump accountable for what he promised he'd get done. That's the only thing that I would say. You need to hold him accountable. You need to be sure that you guys are doing accountability over there in that group. But she's trying to rebrand herself now. She's trying to enter in more political spaces. And I don't know what it is with individuals like Amber Rose and Kanye West and things like that who I guess they're inspired by Donald Trump because he's more in the entertainment industry, more in the entertainment world, but he's a businessman and he was able to become president of the United States. So they may be feeling encouraged to be able to enter into a political arena. But I'm just like, yo, y'all need to stick to what you're good at. Go entertain people. Same thing with Kim Kardashian, right? Who's trying to enter into a political realm. No, you stick to what you're good at, right? That's BBLs. That's entertainment. That's keeping up with the Kardashians. With of course, who really keeps up with them, right? This is what this is. You stick to that, right? Business deals, whatever it may be, right? When it comes to certain brands like Adidas and things like that, stick to those things. Politics is not your thing. Stay out of politics. Same thing with Amber Rose, switching over, trying to be more political based, right? Amber Rose, who did the whole slut walk, she normalized or brought normality to being a promiscuous individual, and that's honestly the best way I can put it. And it's done a lot of damage to the community because we got to bring shame back into our homes, right? She out there outside? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna go get this charger, y'all. Y'all give me a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Let me switch the scenery real quick, and I want to be sure. Let me go get this charger real quick. All right. Yeah, we're gonna get this charger real quick, and then we're gonna come right back. Okay. Let's see. Let me get the charger real quick. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be fast. All right, I got it. Yo. Whew. So hopefully, here we go. Go ahead and get this thing plugged up. Here we go. Back up and running. All right. So hopefully that back feed ain't gonna be doing nothing. Okay. Let's get to it. So yeah, bringing shame back, right? Because that didn't go down in style. But that's sort of what the difference is. That's what the difference really is, honestly, is understanding the shame. Appreciate y'all being patient with me. Here we go. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Is it imperative? Am I, because my thing is this, right? That's what I'm observing. That's what I'm identifying, is that there's a level of these communities being shameless, honestly, having no shame in their game, right? And it's mostly got to be instilled into the women because they are the ones who's going to carry the torch. Now, when a woman respects the men in their culture, they are respecting the men and they're representing on a whole nother level, right? And they're representing on another level. Absolutely. Okay, so we back. Let me go ahead and get my share my screen. Here we go. All right. Whew. I had to think quickly. Okay. All right, let's get back to it, y'all.
Is interested in hearing everything you got to say. This is exactly where Samson failed, my brothers. In Judges chapter 16, it tells us that Samson gave Delilah access to the deepest parts of his heart. And once she had that access, she weaponized it against him. It cost him his strength, his freedom, and eventually his life. Today, far too many men do the same thing emotionally. When men feel unseen by their wives, they open up to another woman, a co-worker. She could be a friend. And actually, I don't even really believe in that concept unless your wife approves of her. She could also be someone online that you just communicate with, maybe via direct messages. But you have to be very careful because Satan appears as an angel of light, as it is written, but we know he is not. She seems to understand. She seems to care. Sometimes she may even seem like she's a Christian. But that right there, my brother, should expose her if you're a married man. And here's also the problem. I actually think this is the problem that many men get tripped up on. This woman is not committed to protecting you. She's not your shield. In fact, she might be the one holding the dagger. So be very careful.
Boy.
I strongly suggest avoid her counsel altogether. And if you need to talk to someone besides a therapist, counselor, or pastor, call on one of your friends, your brothers, someone who you know will give you their ear as you have given yours to them many times. And close.
Now, that's coming from a man who's been married for years, right? He said that you probably shouldn't go seeking her advice. You should probably lean on some of your brothers, right? Some of the individuals you trust rather than leaning on her. You understand what I'm saying? I totally agree with that position because there's a certain extent that you need to really talk to your woman. And this is how I see it, right, y'all? There's so many individuals out here who are far more qualified to be able to give you advice on this than I am. But based on my experience and what I've dealt with myself in regards to relationships, I'm telling you now, the worst thing you can do is to allow your lady to be involved in too much, right? You can't allow her to be involved in everything you got going on. Yeah, that's your confidant. That is just somebody you confide in. That's somebody that you get, but letting her know everything. Like he said with Samson, a situation with Delilah. Listen, it was a bad situation. You gotta consider that, right? You gotta consider it. You understand what I'm saying? So I think he raised a very controversial but also great points. I say it's controversial because women ain't gonna like that. Women ain't gonna like that you telling a man not to talk to them and tell them about all of these problems and concerns that they have and things like that. Where women just aren't really able to handle it as much as men can, right? Sometimes they can't handle it, might be too much of a burden overload for them. And they start to assume a certain position, like the last video that I did about Gucci Man, right? Whereas to where he has his wife who is saying that she is stronger than him, right? So, now she's dominating him, she's ruling over him, right? And the only thing he's good for is a money bag, and that's about it. To get the bag, and that's it. And to build her reputation, her brand, and to get her out into the forefront. She's using him for clout, whatever it may be. But this is what it results to when you start to rely on her too much instead of relying on your brother or relying on your father, relying on your pastor, relying on your on a male counselor that you are trusting, right? That you trust, and gives you great advice. This is the result of it. A woman will assume a position of authority. She will rule over you if you give her the opportunity to. If you give her a chance to, she will dominate you. And then guess what? She will dominate you, and she won't even care about the repercussions of her actions, right? Because she's going to dominate you. She's going to go off and do whatever she wants to do. She doesn't have a sense of respect and honor towards you, right? And that's where the problem comes from and stems from. That's why you get a lot of individuals who seems to be, it's like they split because of infidelity, right? Because maybe they weren't standing up in their relationship strong enough, right? Maybe they shut down, as he's talking about here, and he's going to go deeper into it. They shut down instead of confronting the issues head on. And like the Bible tells us to do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Instead, you allow the sun to go up and down all over your wrath, right? There's no respect or honor that you may be upset. But when she's upset, the whole house got to pay attention. I say that that's not the way to go, because if we were to take that back to Adam and Eve, we observe some things. I've talked about this many times on this podcast that, the whole problem with that whole situation, and we're still dealing with that right now, this day. We're dealing with the same problem, the same sort of failure and curse that Adam and Eve failed at in the garden. We're still dealing with it today. Anytime a woman starts to rebel from the man that she chose to be with, and she's not submitted to his authority, right? And she's not listening to him. Anytime that takes place, we've failed. We've now reperformed the Adam and Eve situation, the Adam and Eve curse, right? Because the woman during that time, she did not obey. She was not following what was supposed to take place, right? It wasn't attached to her. It wasn't her thing to carry out. But she saw something as being good, which was the forbidden tree, the forbidden fruit. She thought it was good. Her emotions made a determination that changed the whole lifestyle, right? To now we know, to life as we know it now. But the Most High didn't say that it would end with Adam and Eve. He said that serpent would continue to bite at the heels of Adam, and that serpent would continue to do so, right? And it'll be an ongoing feud and battle. Every single time your wife or the woman who you're with, every time she rebels, every time she does not listen, every time that she goes based on her emotions and operates based on her emotions, she is performing that curse of Eve. You understand? She's performing, she's acting it out, she's walking it out. It's still the same thing. The serpent is who's beguiling her to operate outside of what the Bible would instruct her to do as a woman. When she's operating outside of that, knowing that it may be wrong, knowing that it may not feel right, for her to take the position that she's in, when she's operating outside of that, she is being beguiled by the serpent. the serpent is convincing her to perform outside of what the Most High would will for her to be, right? So we're experiencing the same thing. The Adam and Eve curses are happening all over again once we have women that are rebelling, that are not submitting to the man's authority, when they're calling us toxic masculinity, when they're trying to put down the masculine features of a man and trying to feminize us. These are things that are taking place that honestly come from that stem from that, because that's only the serpent that's beguiling Eve to want to take that type of position against the man, which is, of course, Adam. Now, of course, her emotions, her feelings, she thought the fruit was good. That is what took place. And Adam submitted to her emotions. He submitted to her believing that the fruit was good. He submitted to how she felt. And don't we see that all over the place nowadays? Where the man is no longer the authority in the home. He's submitting to the woman's feelings and emotions, wanting to appease her, wanting to please her. Happy wife, happy life. These type of things is what they do. And they're just rehatching, reacting out the curse of Adam, of having to deal with that serpent, having to deal with it biting his heels, reacting it out all over again. And the men who are overcoming this, who are defeating this, right, are the men who have the greatest battles within a relationship, because they will not, and they will not submit. They will not continue to submit to a woman's feelings and emotions. So this is some of the things that are taking place. It's still happening to this day. It has nothing has changed. And I'm just saying it hasn't changed. It's just, it's even on a bigger scale. Even more women are acting out. Even more women are taking positions to where they're being beguiled by the serpent. And then a lot of us men who are taking positions of Adam, of Ahab, of all these other different individuals who submitted to a woman's emotions, right? So I just wanted to add that in there real quick as well. So let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. We're almost done with this one, about a minute or so. Let's continue,
my brothers, I want you to understand that respect is not something you beg for. It's something you become. I don't fight for respect. It's either going to be there or I'm not. You teach others how to treat you by the consistency of your character and not the volume of your complaints. You cannot enforce respect if you're terrified of conflict, if you silence your own heart in the name of false peace, or if you lose control every time you try to correct what's wrong. So when disrespect appears, stand firm, my brothers. Speak calmly, but move deliberately. Handle it with composure, clarity, and courage, but never under any circumstance accept disrespect, unless you accepting it keeps you in an advantageous position. Because the moment you tolerate disrespect, you train the world to forget who you are. And you never want to be in that space. As always, my brothers, I hope this video encouraged you. If you want to be notified when I upload another one, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. But if you're ready,
and so y'all go check him out. I think that Jason Wilson definitely is on to something great. I'm always plug him in there. His link will be in the description box below. But you guys check him out. He's gonna definitely have some gems. He's gonna have some gems over there for you. That's one of the biggest things. Now, hopefully we got something from that, because the next video I'm about to bring up here, honestly, is something that I definitely wanted to get out here and review, because the level of truth that's coming from this particular interview. I mean, this interview is so flawed, man. This thing is like, this guy is standing on business for real. And honestly, I can only say that when we're having these conflicts, like I said, when it comes to the melanated or Black community, we highly publicize our issues in our marriages. Our intermarital issues are highly publicized. When it comes to the degradation of our women, the degrading of our men, putting the men down, putting the women down, We're the ones who make the songs, right? I mean, you got other coaches and communities, right, who make songs about being brokenhearted, or maybe they were brokenhearted from a man. We make songs about, I don't want no scrubs. You understand what I'm saying? You better call Tyrone. You get what I mean? Attacking a man's most vulnerable position, right? When he's not a high earner, he's just like maybe a bare minimum earner, or maybe he's, not a high dollar earner, or maybe he's trying to make it to that point. A lot of our community has made songs like this, influencing people to really expose the level of weakness within our community, the men in our community, right? And not keeping us strength, not keeping us strong. We already don't own enough in this world. We already don't own enough businesses. We already don't own enough real estate. We already don't own enough of anything in this world. And to degrade and to put down anyone, right, in the community, we don't see other cultures doing it. We don't see it to where these cultures are doing it, and it makes sense. Like, wow, only see that the melanated culture is the culture that's doing it. They are definitely all in on this. Okay, y'all. They're definitely all in on it. So we need to address that. Let's go ahead and pull up this interview real quick. I think that this thing was a very, very good interview, and the way that it was conducted and handled, you couldn't even do nothing but agree, honestly. But it wasn't much that you can come back. Let's go ahead and get into this thing. Dave Anderson, I believe he's a mogul. He's a guy who definitely does business well. They call him the business bully. So let's go ahead and take a listen as to what he has to say in regards to this whole situation when it comes to the Black community and building with the community, right? Let's get into it, y'all. We're going to start from this timestamp right here.
Listen, man, here's the bottom line. When it comes to somebody like Charlie Kirk, everybody is the bad guy in somebody's story. And sometimes people don't understand in this charged environment, if you say something somebody don't like, they're going to try and pop you. That man didn't deserve to lose his life. And what people don't understand, when white people catch a cold, Black people get full-blown AIDS. And so we got to be real careful as to how we talk about and acknowledge what happened, because there are people like celebrating, and then next thing you know, they're losing their job. Then they crying on the same TikTok talking about, I can't believe I got fired because I made fun of Charlie Kirk. You made fun of a man who got shot down in front of his wife and children. Right. Like, so at some point you got to understand, when somebody and I know I've been Black a long time, don't plan on switching up. You said you've been Black a long time? I've been Black a long time, 48 years of Blackness.
Come on, my
life. We'll keep it up. I know plenty of people who got shot and gunned down, and I would feel some type of way, if people was cheering and applauding for that. We've all lost someone, and so, God bless him. I didn't agree with a lot of his rhetoric, but I will defend his right to say it, because, again, you start messing with white people's rights, our rights ain't got a chance.
And Dave Anderson, y'all, I told you he was opinionated. Now take us back home. What was home life like for you? How did you get so articulate, so smart, so successful?
My dad was a cop. My mom was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. I had an uncle who was a teacher. I spent a lot of time in books. And then, shoot, man, I grew up with a speech impediment for a real long time, and then I had to go through speech therapy, so that meant I spent a lot of time reading. Yeah, I speak publicly. I had a speech impediment, and I have dyslexia and dyscalculia.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I would have never known any of that.
A lot of hurdles.
You're not supposed to. I'm not walking around here like a victim.
Right. I love that.
So it comes down to just spending time researching. And in my house, the way I grew up, even with my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, everybody, you could have an opinion, but you better be ready to back it up. You couldn't just say whatever you wanted to say without having some evidence, some knowledge of what was happening. And so, the other part of that is, I was raised to play for my last name. When you look at anybody's jersey who's a professional athlete, they have their last name on their back. And your name was supposed to mean something. You know, so I wasn't gonna go out here and dishonor my grandfather's name, my father's name, my mother's name by just, you know, not living up to my full potential. So,
and that's what's missing in the community. Period. It's what is missing is people who have honor and respect and want to keep the integrity of their last name, understanding that their father, their forefathers, you know what I mean, would bring shame to their name. That's the problem. And so you see a man here who says he's playing for his last name. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Ones who show more honor, more respect, honestly, they don't want to, like I said, tarnish the reputation. You're going to see them move different. Let's continue.
Let's talk about the Black Agenda.
the real Black Agenda.
The book. He has a book out called The Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda. So what internal or external movement led you to realize that a different conversation was needed?
Because you got a bunch of Yowza Boss, Shade Tree house coons, either on television, in the pulpit, or being elected, sitting up here promising you things and never delivering on them. Like, for the past 60 years, Black people have not been flourishing the way we should, even though we love hollering out hashtag Black excellence. We love talking about our accomplishments. Somebody graduates, that's great, but we're #1 in student loan debt, right? Our wealth has dropped 60% over the past 10, 15 years. And so at some point, we got to realize that everybody is eating off us. We love talking about for the culture and how the culture is this, the culture is that, but white people own the culture. It's our culture, but they're monetizing it. And so at some point, you got to realize everywhere else you go, like when I was in radio, I lived in 34 cities in 19 states, and I saw the same thing everywhere. There was a Chinatown, there was a Little Italy, there was a Koreatown, but I didn't see Brothertown or Black Girl Magicville. But I did see the hood everywhere I went.
Right.
That's by design. And so in order to fix that, we got to start shutting down our wagons, stop trying to take everybody's cause, stop fighting for illegal immigrants, fighting for this cause, fighting for that cause, while everybody else walks on our back and get benefits we ain't got yet.
Talk about it. Now, with the Black Agenda, did you
The real Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda. Did you struggle with finding a balance between, you know, being brutally honest and not being offensive in your book?
If Black people can't take brutal honesty at this point, then I feel sorry for you. You're not my audience. Like, at some point, we got to stop coddling people. Like, we the only group of people that sits up here and tries to make all these arrangements for our trash.
So,
never should have ate it.
And that's what I see. Honestly, tell you the truth. When I take a look at some of these individuals, especially the ones who are over there with born again Israelites, listen, I see a bunch of people who want to be coddled. I see a bunch of people who want to avoid the truth. I see a bunch of people who want to have a softer blow, right, for their ignorance or for the things that they do wrong or for the things that they should enlighten themselves more with. I see a lot of excuses and a lot of things as to where we're trying to find ways to feel good about things that we should feel terrible about, right? We shouldn't be so caught up on somebody's speech to the point is where when they say the word ass, that you decide you want to click off and unsubscribe. We should be able to be tough enough to hear the real raw truth and say, you know what, we got to work on ourselves. When I'm talking about individuals who are ex-straightway members, right, I'm not talking about all ex-straightway members because not all of them are performing on the same level. A lot of them are performing and actually doing great works to expose the truth when it comes to religious cults, right? But we got other individuals out here who are being very, very, I would say, critical in regards to that exposure. Those are the individuals who need to toughen up. Those are the individuals who need to understand the tough conversations that need to be had, right? These are the individuals that's being talked about. Same thing with the Black and melanated community. Y'all all know what's up. Y'all know that we are in the state that we're in because we're too busy trying to coddle feelings and emotions. And you just want to continue on with coddling rather than repairing and remedy the true issue, the true problem. You're too busy trying to find ways to appease yourself, to please your flesh, and you're not trying to find ways to actually build, restore, and try to change anything that has been destroyed. It's the biggest mistake that we could ever make as a community of people. is to try to appease each other emotionally. Try not to bring about an offense because we're the type of people that's so offended. We'll gain any type of offense. We're looking for any reason to be offended. You understand what I'm saying? Any reason that we can be offended, looking for a reason to be offended. We don't got the space or the room. What are we going to use? Oh, the international slave trade, the slaves. Our ancestors were slaves. They were beaten, they were whipped, they were chained. Listen, we're using this same excuse over and over and over again without actually affecting and enacting change. Bringing back the shame in our communities, right? To be able to make ourselves better, to propel ourselves forward. So when individuals like Nick Fuentes comes on the live, right? And he starts to dog y'all out, in a black community, in a melanated community, telling you how piss poor you are, telling you how bad you are, how people want to cross the street when they see you walking down a block. Listen, my thing is this, right? He's not wrong. Even a lot of you black individuals agree with his position, but we're still too busy trying to coddle. We're still too busy trying to find ways to make an excuse for the poor behavior instead of bringing back the shame that they can bring to their last name. So he has a valid point. He has a valid point in individuals just trying to coddle, just trying to find an excuse to feel good or not to feel bad about something. I've noticed that individuals who are part of the born again Israelites maybe have been ex-straightway code members, right? But they're finding reasons to hate individuals for things that they're trying to move on from and heal from, and they've repented from and shown forth fruits for, right? And these individuals are also looking to have this crusade of hatred, but no real facts and truth. Steady wanting to stay stagnant in the position, but hear with itching ears what they want to hear. But they want it to be delivered in such a manner that makes them feel good. And they call that holy. They call that set apart. They call that a gift coming from the Most High, even though the word, the message is being presented has nothing to do with Yah. This is what I've noticed. I don't know if you all noticed this, but I've noticed this. I've noticed that some of these women that's not only in the Hebrew Israelite community, but other communities don't believe that black men deserve anything when it comes to respect and honor. That we don't deserve it. And the only way we can actually receive it is if we achieve higher heights, if we're multi-millionaires, if we're earning on the highest potentials, then guess what? Then we deserve it. Whereas where I look at other communities like the Hispanic community, and that Hispanic man goes out and picks fruit at a farm, and the only thing he makes is probably poverty level wages, and he still gets a hot meal at home, respected, his feet washed and rubbed. Listen, still respected. Earning bare minimum wages. Where black men seem to have to, for our women to impress them, we have to reach a high level of success. I'm not talking about success. I'm talking a high level of success. You're still gonna get disrespected if you're a six-figure earner. But if you have a high level of success and notoriety, guess what? You might just be able to keep them around, right? But it always turns public at some point. Where you see other cultures and other communities, they don't publicize all of their business. They don't dramatize all of their business and relationships out there. You look at the Hebrew Israelite community, you see all of these melanated people publicizing and dramatizing everything. And I'm not saying I'm exempt. I'm saying I like to shed light on the darkness. I don't believe that I want to just get out here and just do conflict, but I like to bring the truth if people have things misunderstood, especially if they call themselves a teacher and they are really teaching sound doctrine. That's the best way to correct it. I believe we cleared the smoke enough to where we can get focused on the real problems and issues in our community. And it starts with us. It starts with us being able to address the real problems, core issues in our family sex, bringing back the shame in our community, bringing back the shame in our households. It starts with the women. Then it's the men. The men tend to always understand at least a level of respect and honor. Whereas to where the women, if left unchecked, they will not understand. If you do not give them guidance, if you do not give them order, if you do not critique them, give them some sort of something, advice to be able to get them on the right track, they will be lost. They need guidance. Women need guidance. It just is what it is. Some of them more than others. Some of them are very self-proficient. They're very self-starters. They'll get things done. They still even need guidance. I promise you. You understand what I'm saying? They still need guidance, even when they're great at it. I don't care, man. Even when they're great at it. Let's continue, though. Let's continue, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get back into this thing.
What?
Big as hell.
So what's
your times, y'all?
What's your thoughts about him? How do you feel about him?
The same way I feel about most of these mega preachers. What good are they? All they do is y'all's the boss. And again, what do you have to show? The Bible says you will know the tree by the fruit that it bears. What fruit have they bear? You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't Jamal Bryant say, I'm going to take the land because I want the brothers that smell like weed? Did he start the dispensary yet? Did we get the new birth dispensary?
No.
That hasn't happened. But you got time to be on CNN, and then you got to try and blackmail Target for $250 million just so that you can wear your mama's brooch and, you know, talk about things that really don't affect us, because DEI only helps white women. It doesn't really help us. 4% of all DEI jobs go to black people, but nearly 60% of the DEI firings go to black people. But good job, Jamal. Keep collecting in buckets.
Keep good job, Jamal. So was there a particular event, like a personal situation that you went through that inspired you to write the Black Agenda?
The real Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
It was the fact that I have a YouTube channel called I Never Knew TV, and we have different black voices throughout the diaspora, so here on the continent, in the Caribbean. And when I launched the Ask Dave Anderson series, I would pose these problems and things that I saw happening in the community, and everybody in the comment want to be a thumb thug talking about, well, what's the solution? I hear you talking about the problems, but what's the solution? They need a solution. So I spent 30,000 plus words giving y'all a solution, so now you ain't got no excuse. You don't want to listen to Killer Mike.
Hey, thumb thug is crazy. Being a thumb thug is crazy, y'all. But he hit the nail right on the head. I mean, what can you argue with about that? It's things that need to be solution-based, of course. You need to provide the solution, right? Because my thing is that, listen, we can talk about the problems all day long, but the individuals who are perpetuating the problems need to think solution-based, not the issue, not the people who are talking about the issues. The people who are talking about the problems with these religious cults, the people who are talking about the problems within the community, Hebrew Israelite community, the black, so-called black community, melanated community, these individuals, right? They don't need to provide the solution because they have the solution. You need to provide the solution. You know why? Because you're still perpetuating the same problem. You haven't gotten over the problem. You're still producing problems. That's what you're doing, producing problems. You're not producing anything that's profitable, that's equitable, that can be stood on solid. That's the reason why men like this, like Anderson, like Dave Anderson here has to talk about this. This is the reason why I gotta talk about it and address it, is because we have the solution. The solution is to address you, the problem, to address you. You being the problem. You understand what I'm saying? So that is the solution. Why do you keep asking for a solution when we have the solution? Our solution is to address the problem. A lot of you individuals who are so-called teachers, who are misleading individuals, right? So hung up on a jot and a tittle that you are using your jot and your tittle to control a narrative, to perform witchcraft, to do all these other things that does not get our people to the next level. Listen, you fall in that category of a problem. And instantly, the solution is to stop listening. But will these other individuals who want to pump you up and promote you and support you, will they ever stop listening? Absolutely not, because they also wish you to be a problem. You understand what I'm saying? They don't wish to be a solution. That's why shots are fired. But they wish to be the problem, to go in the comment section, They want to send out emails and all this other scripted stuff, right? They want to make false videos and do all this and that. Workers of mischief. Constantly want to ask the individuals who are providing the solution, well, what's the solution to the problem? Why are you always talking about the problem with no solution? We got the solution. We're doing it right now. You're the problem. We're addressing you. This is the solution. Now you just continue to follow the movement. You'll see what solutions are enacted and put in place, whether it's truly being done and accomplished, right? Since you yourself can't accomplish anything, guess what? We got to get out here and do it ourselves. Only thing you can truly and effectively accomplish is to cause strife and contention, right? It's continuously address situations without any sort of aim for peace, without any sort of aim for restoration and growth, without any aim of unity. And for a lot of you individuals who are aimlessly talking about problems and situations, guess what? I don't have the time for you, because you're not the wave. You're not the move. You're actually truly the hindrance of the individuals who are looking to grow, who are looking to have the culture succeed and thrive and flourish, who are looking to bring a better name to the Hebrew Israelite culture, who are looking to bring a better image and better name to the melanated or black culture. You individuals who are steady complaining without any, aimlessly complaining, aimlessly, meaning you have no goals. You are the problem. Individuals who are goal-oriented, thinking forward, right? What is the end goal? We are the solution. Let's continue.
Mike, you don't want to listen to David Banner. You didn't want to listen to Dr. Claude Anderson. You didn't want to listen to Ice Cube. You didn't want to listen to Farrakhan. So hopefully me putting this out will allow somebody to start taking some action.
Do you feel like the black community is ready to read the truths in the real black agenda?
Whether they're ready or not, here it is.
Come on.
Was there any part of the book that you hesitated to write because you didn't want to be offensive?
It's not even about being offensive. I hesitated to talk about the fact that we're in bed with the Democratic Party and we ain't got nothing for it. The only time you ever see these folks is when they come to New Birth because it's their birthday, or they want to stand around and dance with pudgy ass Worrell and Martin and do some horrible ass dance. You never see them do anything effectively in the black community. The same people who you say are racist are not the only racist. Joe Biden was mentored by Strom Thurmond, racist. He was mentored by Robert Byrd and eulogized him. Robert Byrd was a Klansman, but he reformed, because that type of deep-seated racism over 100 some odd years just magically goes away. He said that he didn't want people growing up in a racial jungle. And so when you tell black people anything bad about Democrats, they're like, oh Lord, no, you best not say nothing about Bill Clinton. You best not say nothing about Master Biden. And Lord, don't come for Barack. Right. And it's just like, okay. When Trayvon Martin died, what did Barack do? He could have been my son. And then he walked his ass right back in the White House.
So I guess the question that I have for you is, because listen, I'm on the same page. How do we get the black community to wake up and kind of wean away from the Democrat community? I feel like it's coming in small numbers, but for the most part, and my own family members, my older family members, they really was like feeling some type of way when I told them that I didn't want to vote Democrat. Like, it's like they feel like our older black family.
Listen, y'all better be ready. The baby boomers, that generation that raised you on Democrat, that birthed you and bathed you and fed you on Democratic Party. Listen, y'all better be ready, because a lot of them will literally fist fight you because you said you're going to vote for Donald Trump, or you're going to vote for a Republican Party, even though the first Republican Party was an all-black party. They don't really even get that. They don't get that the history behind the Democrats, right, has always been to oppress and suppress the people. Not only to oppress and suppress, but also to neutralize, to sterilize. All these different things are people. It's just always been their real goal, underlying goal. But listen, I believe it was Ronald Reagan who said that he's going to have y'all N-words voting Democrat for decades to come, after he's done breaking the buck. That's exactly what he said. and look at it come to fruition? Would you call him a prophet because black people, so-called black people, saw benefits and decided they wanted to submit to daddy government because they can get food stamps and welfare and all this other stuff from daddy government? So guess what? We're going to hit that Democrat every time, right? We're going to hit that Democrat every time because we get all of the stuff that we need provided to us. We don't got to work, right? We can be lazy. We can sit here. But number one thing, you need to kick that man out the home, right? Kick him out the home or hide him in a closet. Don't let them come by and see this man at the crib, because guess what? You're going to lose all of that. Your welfare, your food stamp, all the other stuff right there, right? You're going to lose all of that because daddy government say he ain't allowed to be there. So the father is effectively removed from the home, allowing the children to do what? Run rampant. Because when disorder is in the home, guess what? And when there's no order in the home, children can sense it like that. It don't take long for them to sense disorder. And you see them start to act unruly because the order is not put in place. My thing is this, right? Is that the more we continue to ignore the truth, is the worse the society will get. There's only a select group of you guys who would truly be saved by the Most High Yah, because ultimately the Father is the one who dictates and determines all of this. He is the way, right? He is the one who's going to determine it. But my thing is this: the ones who are listening, the ones who seek to make the change, you're not going to be a part of that, right? You're going to turn away from it. But let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. Man, he brought also a really great point.
Family members feel like just because we're black, we have to vote Democrat. Like we have to.
So the same baby boomers in the first half of Gen Xers that got us in this mess are now talking about they're upset. You gave us this world. You let them run wild. You let them run ragged, do whatever they want. You didn't ask for anything. We live in a country that is not a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. The founding fathers never wanted any type of democracy, because for those of you who spent no time in third grade civics,
I'm gonna give you real, brother Angela. I was looking at what Vic said, and I'm like, let me see what he said. He said Farrakhan is suspect like now. And I think this is funny, right? Because Farrakhan, why is he still alive? Didn't he come up in the era where all of the strong melanated men who like Malcolm X and Huey P. Newton and Marcus Garvey, didn't he come up with a lot of these Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, all these individuals? Didn't he come up around in that era? So if he came up around in that era, why is he still alive? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is he still alive? Why Farrakhan, out of all of these individuals, why is Farrakhan one of the ones that's still living, man? It's just so interesting. And you can only speculate certain things, right? Until you start diving into it for real, right? Why is he still alive, man? Because if he was truly a motivational voice, man, they would have had to eliminate him too. Maybe he just didn't have the same impact as a lot of these other individuals, but it seems like he should have, right? It's just an honest question. I'm just curious about that. I'm not saying that he's a terrible person. I don't really listen to a lot of Farrakhan's work or anything like that, or follow it, you know what I mean? But a lot of you who came up in that era know who Farrakhan is. You guys know what it was about. It was a revolutionary type of era, and it was a beautiful time for the community, right? Because we had more unity during that time. But why is he still living? You know what I mean? Because I'm just curious about that. Let's continue, y'all.
Democracy means the majority rules. The founding fathers didn't want that. They wanted to keep their landmass slave owning game going. And so if you understand that this is not about a democracy, you got more control over who's WWE champion than you do who's president. So at some point, you got to understand all the boomers need to go. Go sit down, hang it up. You ruined us. Now we got to fix this mess. Here's the thing. Gay people. I didn't say nothing yet. Gay people have representatives on both sides of the aisle. If you think I'm lying, explain Bruce. I'm sorry, Caitlyn Jenner. Hispanics have people on both sides of the aisle. Who's the Chinese American leader? You don't know who they are. You want to know why? They too busy running Chinatown, and it doesn't matter how many conglomerates I put up. It doesn't matter how many businesses I acquire. I can't buy an inch of land in Chinatown, but yet and still you got Chinese people giving you chicken wings covered in MSG. You got Korean people doing your nails, putting gel in it. You realize gel manicures just got banned in the UK? You got You got Indians and Ethiopian people giving you Dunkin' Donuts. They tell you there's no money in the hood, but McDonald's don't build nothing that is not a profit center. So why there's so many McDonald's in the hood? They convince you that the hood was the problem, but the problem is the hood has not woken up to what's really happening. And so I don't really give a rat's ass. If you go independent and you say, give me something for my vote. Are you dating? Are you messing with somebody right now? Have you seen somebody recently?
Who, me?
You. I'm talking to you.
You mean like am I married?
No, I know you're not married, but I mean, are you seeing somebody? Have you seen somebody before?
I'm not married.
Have you been on a date before?
Yes.
Okay. Did you just say, you know what, skip the date, we just gonna go home? No, you want to make sure that this person is invested in you, cares about you, you want to know how they act. But
yeah,
you're treating your political future and your community's future like a one-night stand and you too horny to do anything about it. And what do? They come along and they fuck you. Excuse my language, but that's the only way I can say it.
You mean the Democratic Party? They come along.
The Democratic Party knows that y'all not going nowhere. That's why they were so big on these illegals, because they want to get a second voter base that's going to be loyal to them.
So how do you think the world would have turned out right now in present day where we are now, where everything that happened had Kamala Harris made it into office instead of Donald Trump?
I mean, they tried their best to install her. It would have still been a shit show. Period, point blank. Here's the thing. Forget how you feel about the former vice president. Forget whether or not she's black or Jamaican, even though I have never heard her finish the sentence, boom, bye, bye, in a body boy, it. She don't know that. She graduated in 1986, but swore she listened to Tribe Called Quest and Snoop Dogg when she was in college. All of that aside, nobody voted for her in a primary. She went on The View, which is friendly to everything Democratic and everything female, and they gave her a low IQ question, which was, if you could do anything different than what Joe Biden has done so far, what would you change? I wouldn't change anything. Joe, he did it, Joe. What did she do? What did she do?
At 29 Sky Entertainment, they are introducing fresh talent and creativity to the world. They offer innovative services and you said he is cosplaying in kente cloth.
Yeah, cosplaying in kente cloth, but they all do. Nancy Pelosi cosplayed in kente cloth.
Now, for Mr. Martin, as somebody who, you keep it real, what would you like to see Mr. Martin do more of for the black community?
So he sat up there and he kept talking about, well, the Congressional Black Caucus, go to my iPad, and then what have we gotten? We gotten a YouTube channel because he can't keep a job in mainstream broadcasting, and then he bitches and moans all the time about how he's not getting enough money, but he got $300,000 from Kamala Harris's campaign and still couldn't help her deliver black community. What has he done significantly other than complain and bitch? And then when he says something about people who disagree with him, he calls them dumbasses.
Right.
And then when people who are masculine come and confront him, he hides behind black women and runs and calls for security. He won't have a conversation to anybody with any type of level of intelligence worth respecting, and yet and still, he's dancing for Hillary Clinton, he danced for Obama, he's dancing for Kamala, he's dancing for whoever he wants, and that's just the thing. He's an entertainer. He's not a politician, and he hasn't been a journalist for 15 years. What did Malcolm X say? Do not listen to entertainers, comedians, and trumpet players. What are we doing? Listening to entertainers, comedians, and trumpet players. D.L. Hughley got a GED, and this is who you listen to? D.L. Hughley is a multi-millionaire, but he's mad every single day. How many D.L. Hughley scholars? Anybody got the D.L. Hughley scholarship? Anybody got the D.L. Hughley real estate supplementary program? So why is he so mad? Why is he yelling and screaming all the time?
I feel like celebrities feel like that just because they have a name, they can go into like the podcast realm, and just because you have the following, you feel like you have the credentials and the background to go into that atmosphere. That's just my thoughts.
I mean, that's a feeling. That doesn't make it a fact. You are entitled to your own feelings, but it don't mean it's a fact. Like, my child plays Grand Theft Auto, but she's 10 years old with autism. I'm not going to give her the keys to my truck because that would be irresponsible and stupid. And they would probably jail me for that.
Come on now. Now, that's the same thing that I was saying earlier. It's like a lot of these individuals, D.L. Hughley, you tell jokes for a living, bro. Like, why are we taking a position of political, right? Or these other positions, right? Your job is to tell jokes. Keep telling jokes, right? Do your thing. Do what you're great at, right? And that's what you're great at. Now, am I saying that you can't give out wisdom, that you can't part ways with wisdom? Yeah, do it for the community of people that you're influencing, the comedians of the world, right? You know, we got to understand, like, some of these people, like, you know, of course, D.L. Hughley and Steve Harvey, you know, we heard what Cat Williams had to say in regards to these individuals, right? Speaking on them and what their character is like. I'm not saying that I'm going to bash them. I don't know them personally. But my thing is that if you're stepping into a political arena, be sure that you understand politics and you've done politics and you've worked the political world a little bit before you start jumping out there. And not only that, before you really start to force yourself onto people to give them advice in spaces, right? You know, you gotta know that where your world is when you're offering scholarships, when you're offering these different things, how many individuals are actually taking advantage of what you have to offer? How many individuals really do hear about the D.L. Hughley foundations or scholarships or anything like that? How many people are winning a lot of that stuff? How many people are getting full rides to college because D.L. Hughley decided to fund them based on those things? I don't hear about those type of stories often. You know, it's like a thing is to where we're talking big, but, you know, maybe hitting small, right? You know, sort of like Dr. Umar Johnson, right? Where he's saying he's going to build this school in which, of course, there's been so many shortcomings that it make your head spin. So much mismanagement of funds that did not accomplish the mission, right? And so these are the things we got to start holding each other accountable for. When we're supposed to be moving on such a level, we got to hold each other accountable for not following through with a lot of this stuff, right? And wanting explanations as to why they thought it was okay to mismanage the funds that were given to them, like Dr. Umar Johnson, who mismanaged, you know, the Pookie Pan-African, right? The Pookie Pan-African who cannot seem to get this school built, who can't seem to keep his word on things, who seems to be really fleecing the flock, really fleecing people all to get grifting the people and getting money and collecting money. Now, my thing is that, is it the truth? Yes, it is the truth. Can he be able to talk about it, answer for it? Yeah. Do I have personal problems with Dr. Umar Johnson because he has been proven to do it? No, I don't have any personal problems with him. But I believe accountability shouldn't escape anyone, right? Not even myself, not even anyone else out there. We should all be held accountable for whatever takes place, the actions and what we're doing, bringing shame back into the culture and community, right? If you want to be sure that you keep a good name about yourself, you want to be sure you do right by people, right? You're going to do right by them. You're not going to just take their money and you're going to overpromise, like Dr. Umar Johnson, overpromise and underdeliver. Let's continue.
Sometimes a microphone in the wrong hands is a weapon. And like I said, you will know the tree from the fruit that it bears. Show me the fruit and then we can have a conversation.
Talk to us about the YN apocalypse.
So again, this is another thing that Gen X and the baby boomers did, which was not pay attention to the importance of rearing your child. When you're getting paid by daddy government, because daddy government did the baby face on you, I'll pay your rent, I'll buy your clothes, I'll give you housing too, just don't have a man in the house. When daddy is out of the equation because you forced him out,
wow,
you get YNs. For every action, this is science, y'all learned this in 9th grade. In every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So now you got these kids out here in Pooh Shiesty masks because you have not taught them that they can do something with their hands. You told them to go to college, and I'm sorry, everybody ain't a scholar. My grandfather put 7 kids through college with a 6th grade education just working with his hands. We get off of that because that's not sexy enough. Then you get this propaganda, this person's got to be a high-value man. He got to have 6, 7 figures for you to even look his way. He got to take you on a $300 meal date. The first date, don't know your middle name, your last name, your blood type, or your STD panel. But you want all these things for him. So at the end of the day, what's happened is these YNs are out here robbing you because you did not give them any skills to focus on. You did not give them anything to do. You did not give them any sense of self. You did not build up their self-esteem, and you did not hug.
And then I'm gonna shoot that rabbit while it's running, y'all. There's a mindset to where not only are these women looking for guys who are just high achieving, high earning, right? You got some, of course, that will settle for guys, not even settle. That is totally fine and very content with a man who has a great vision and also who may earn regular wages. But you got a vast majority of women, and it's mostly the melanated or Black community, who wants these high earners, who wants this lifestyle, who wants that lifestyle, and they'll do anything to be able to get to that, right? But one thing that they will not do is sacrifice in order to get to that level, to get to that place. They won't find ways to be able to sacrifice their time to help a man build to that level, or help a man build that platform and foundation. And like I always say, the women who sacrifice to help a man build to get to that level, these women are irreplaceable. The ones who want to just show up, right? Who just want to move in on the blessing. Listen, those individuals, those women, they're expendable, meaning you can get rid of them at any point, because they didn't help you do anything. There was no tears coming from the building process there. There was no story behind it. Everything is better with a story. I promise you. You eat a plate of food, right? You sit down at a restaurant, you eat a plate of food. You're looking for the experience, right? But imagine if you learned the chef. You understood the chef. You understood his backstory, understood that he stood in the kitchen with his grandmother for hours learning how to make that particular dish that you're now eating and enjoying. It'll probably make you cry, understanding the beauty of the story behind it. It's a totally different plate of food at that point. This is the same situation when a woman decides to help a man build a foundation. She's a foundational piece. Now a man has established a reputation with this woman, and she's not an expendable person, right? An expendable woman, because she sacrificed to build. A lot of our women, melanated community, don't seem to really get or comprehend this concept. They believe that 50-50 is a curse, and that you should never even allude to 50-50. But since 1980, right, we got some comments in the chat, right? I'm gonna go over real quick. Since 1980, the housing rates have more than tripled, quadrupled. Back then, you can get a house for $40,000 in 1980. Okay, so I can't listen to your grandmother who understood what was going on back then, and it was $40,000 for a house on average, right, in the community. To where now we're up to $400,000 or $351,000 for a home, $451,000 for a home, for the same material. For the same building material. In fact, it's even less. It's just plywood and drywall, sheetrock, right? Back then, they actually had established homes that was made of brick, that had great foundation, whatever it may be. It was long lasting. Nowadays, we're making particle board and plywood and sheetrock. This is the house. This is what it is. This is what's being built. And it's $450,000 now, where back then it was $40,000. It's totally changed. You need more than just two incomes in the household to afford today's economy, okay? So a woman who feels like that she can just sit back and not do nothing to help build, earn, or do anything to accomplish anything, any goals. In this society today, be prepared to be alone. Be prepared forever. Honestly, tell you the truth. Or be prepared to share a man who can provide that lifestyle, who's on that level. But I guarantee you that you're expendable, because the woman who helped him get there, the wife that he got, guess what? She ain't going nowhere. She's firm. She's solid on that rock, because guess what? She helped him build in the beginning. So now he can provide for your ass. Now he can definitely do that. He's worthy now because he had that solid rock with him who helped him get to where he's at now. You understand what I'm saying? You need at least 3 to 4 incomes in a household in order to sustain it in a way to where you're comfortable, where you can be able to take time out for your family, where you can go do things that you're passionate about, where you can travel more and experience an actual life. If it's only 2 incomes in a household, guess what? Y'all gonna be grinding together Half the time, majority of the time, your children are gonna be with somebody else, learning their behaviors, learning their system, learning them. And you're gonna look up and you're going to be able to identify and recognize the children you birth. You're not gonna even know who they are. You're too busy in the work field, because guess what? It just is what it is. It's the economy that we're in today, to where 2 incomes in a household is a challenge if they're not high earner, right? Everything's more expensive. It just is what it is. This is what we're facing. This is what we're looking at. So all of this 50-50. Sometimes you may be 90-10. Sometimes you might be 60-40. Sometimes you might be 0-0 because y'all both broke. Sometimes you might, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know where I'm going with this. It ain't gonna be 50-50. It ain't gonna be 50-50 all the time, or 100% bills his. Sometimes a woman gonna be 100% bills. He gonna be 0%. Just trying to make it, get back to where he's supposed to be. It's just what it is. This is life. And once we pull ourselves out of this mindset of thinking that, okay, put it all on the man's shoulders, let the man do this, let the man do that. Listen, the society that we live in ain't the same. And if you want it to be that way, you got to enact and affect change in society that we're currently in, meaning who you vote for is very important. What you're doing, how you're carrying yourself. Are you degrading yourself? Those things are very important. What level of consuming are you doing? Are you a great consumer? Are you out here just spending a bunch of money because you don't care? What are you doing? That affects a change, right? If you stop the spending, if you stop buying it because it's too expensive, guess what they're going to do? They're going to have to put it on sale. They got too much of it on the shelves now because they hike the price up too high. If you're gonna pay whatever price that they put on it, the price tag, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, YSL, they put a $12,000 price tag on the bag. You see that as an opportunity, not as a burden, not as chains or shackles. You see it as an opportunity, the opportunity to show up the next woman, right? That's the way your mindset works. But if people stop buying YSL, people stop buying Gucci and Louis and all this other stuff because it's too expensive, they're going to drop their prices significantly. And it's mostly you black people, you individuals who are melanated, who are going out and buying a lot of this junk. Other cultures understand how to spend where their net worth is. They know how to build their wealth. And they know that in those stores is not where they're going to build their wealth unless they have stock. If they don't have stock in it, they don't buy it usually. That's why you see a Steve Jobs with a pair of jeans and a black t-shirt. Right? That's why you see it. And you think that these celebrities are walking around with real jewelry. No, it's all fake. But it's definitely influencing you to want to go out and consume. If I'm going to get some diamonds, I need to go make sure they're real because, they got the diamond testers out here. So you go spend an extra what? Well, you really could be buying gold, right? Even if you're going to wear the gold, go buy you a gold chain, gold, whatever. If you're going to wear the gold, wear it. But guess what? It's going to increase in its value. Not to mention the minerals, the properties of gold will actually help you, right? They got healing properties, gives you strength in gold, right? So my thing is that if you're going to buy anything, buy gold, buy silver. Those are investments that continue to increase in profit. YSL ain't going to increase in profit after they're done with the new season. They just dropped a new line of bags, and YSL now, whatever you got that's old, is old now. It's played out. STF happens, stuff hit the fan, shit hits the fan. Your YSL bag ain't going to buy you a trip to across the pond to get out of the States. Your YSL bag ain't gonna even get you down the block. They're gonna burn that. That's burning stuff, right? Keep the fire going. Throw that YSL bag in there. Throw that Gucci bag in there. That's what that's for, right? That's what that's gonna be for. It's gonna lose its value totally, completely. But the mindset of our people is that that's a status symbol. It's a goal. It's an opportunity to be better than the next person. It ain't a thought of, listen, man, that's poverty, because that's what's going to lead you to. You're going to make this individual richer, right? And to make yourself more impoverished. But it's our people who mainly do it. I can't say that it's any other culture of people who do it, right? Man, I'm trying to tell you. Y'all put it in the chat. Have you guys ever seen a Asian woman walking around with Gucci, Louis, YSL, and she's not well off? I'm gonna put that extra thing. She's not well off, right? Any other cultures? Our culture's the only cultures walking around with this stuff and ain't got $1 in our pocket, no investments, no life insurance policies, right? Have no clue what money is. Modern money mechanics have no idea what modern money mechanics is, what it's about. They don't even know what the national banking holiday was back in 1933. Have no education in any of these things, any of these matters, but they walking around with Gucci. They walking around with YSL. Still a slave wage job, still working for somebody else, still trying to put in work for somebody else, but you got a Louis though, you got a Gucci, you got YSL, you got all this other stuff. Not a clue on how to build a business though. Not a clue as to what business credit is versus personal credit. I'm trying to tell you, we got a ways to go. But what does the book say? The Most High says that what? My people are destroyed for their lack of what? Knowledge, because they rejected. When I'm delivering this to you, right? You know that I'm telling you the truth, but you're going to reject the knowledge, right? You're going to reject it, but you're going to suffer for it too. Because while STF happens, right? Shit does really truly hit the fan. You're going to clutch your bags. You're going to clutch your designer wear. You're going to clutch all of that stuff. Your diamonds, whatever it is, you know. Diamonds are going to be intangible. You can be able to sell that. But you're going to clutch all this designer wear while others are actively doing things that make sense. They're going to have tangible assets. They're going to be laughing at you because you're broke now. Look at you. You lost everything. While all their assets and all their investments is in tangible things like gold, silver, all these other investments that they have. Bitcoin. We got catching up to do. And where do we start? But to provide a sting for that ass. You understand what I'm saying? Got to provide a sting for you. Got to put you over the knee. Get you to wake up and realize that, yo, you're not making the best choice. And don't allow your wife or your woman to influence you, right? You got to make a sound decision as a man. Stop allowing her to make the decisions, right? Because you want to please her or make her happy. You got to stay focused on what the mission and goal is. And once you've accomplished the mission and goal, then you can please her. Then she deserves all of this. Then she deserves the world. But until then, stay your silly ass focused on the goal, on your purpose, on your drive. The moment you lose focus on your purpose, your goals, and your drive as a man, your silly ass is going to be looking at her walking out the front door, and you've lost everything because you didn't stay focused. It happens more often than it does not happen, okay? They already complain about you not being a high earner. What makes you think they're going to stick around if you lost your purpose and you're focused on her 24/7, sniffing her rear end, and you're not out here grinding and building for your purpose, for your goals, to be able to keep her content and happy and the rest of your family, right? Yeah, of course, you're going to see her walking out that front door, right? Rightfully so. I mean, listen, you bent the knee. Good luck. Let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. We're going to be wrapping this up here. We're going to move on to the next one real quick, and we're going to
your boys. You let your boys run and let the streets raise them, and now you're mad that it's coming home to roost. You did that.
So how do we fix this situation?
First of all, stay out of father's business. Let me give you an example. I have 2 daughters. I know nothing about menstruation. I watch my children come into the world, but I don't know what it is to have the pain of childbirth. I stay in my lane. Protect, provide, back up my wife. If I had sons, my wife would fall back because it is my job, like it was my father's job and his father's job before him, to raise his son into a man. We have taught our children, we have taught society, and we put a battery in our women's back by telling them that masculinity is toxic. that submission is wrong. I got to submit to God. I got to submit to the IRS. You submit to your white ass boss every single day, but yet and still you won't submit to your husband.
That's a great point, Brother Angelo. Listen, yes, a lot of you are lost and don't have any faith, anything that you truly believe in firmly, right? A lot of you are lukewarm. A lot of you say you believe in Yeshua, believe in Jesus, things like that, right? A lot of you have taken that position, but you have not spent any time in that word. You haven't spent any time trying to learn who he truly is, what he's truly all about. When I'm talking finances, when I'm talking about flourishing and thriving, you have not sought out the scriptures that will teach you even more about how it's okay to be prosperous in this world. It's okay for you to prosper. It's okay for you to get out of your current financial state and reach a higher tax bracket. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll consider you to be a rich man, right? The same rich man that Yeshua speaks about, the one that it is more difficult for him to enter into the kingdom than it is for a camel to enter into an eye of a needle. That rich man is a man who's bound himself to the things of this earth, who's bound himself to the material things of this earth, who's bound himself to the love of money on this earth, and he cannot shake that. He loves what those things bring him, the status, right? The level of influence, the level of joy and happiness that it brings him. He loves the material things on this earth, so he could never transition into a heavenly Father kingdom. He can never walk through those. You know why? He's too busy focused on the things on this earth. And that's not gonna change for him unless he's willing to change it through the Most High Yah, unless he's willing to change it through Yeshua, through Jesus the Messiah. But that's going to be difficult. Because as he said, he told the rich man to sell all and give it to the poor. And with that, what did he do? He didn't do what Yeshua told him to do, what Jesus told him to do. He didn't do it. It was a show test of faith. Let me see if you truly still bound to the things of this earth. You say you want to follow me, right? That means that you need to give up everything that binds you to this earth. And let's walk in the spirit together. He didn't want to walk in the spirit. He wanted to walk in the flesh, the things of the flesh. That's why when you give a lot of these young guys, right, the young guy, when you give them advice and you tell them what they should be doing and looking out for, because you have suffered the same problems, you passing that information down to them. You always got to back it and reinforce it with the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit that's going to guide him. Because guess what? If he wants to walk by the Spirit, he will listen to everything that you got to say. But if he's going to walk by the flesh, everything you have to say is going to go right out the window. You got to teach him spirit versus flesh. You got to teach him how to walk in the Spirit. You can't teach him. You can't be of the flesh, doing things by the flesh and giving him advice and all that stuff. You're the example, right? Well, you got to walk by the Spirit as the example, right? So he can see you spiritually moving. He'll know how to walk by the Spirit. You teach him how to walk by the Spirit. And then guess what? He's going to do everything you tell him to do. And he's going to keep himself clean. But if you show him how to walk by the flesh, it don't matter how much wisdom you part ways with. He's going to continue to move after the flesh. You're his example. Be an example, right? I'm talking to me while I'm talking to you. So don't get it twisted. Let's go.
Husbands, but then you get on these podcasts, you get on these television shows, you watch these reality shows that are scripted, and you sit up there and you say, I want a man who's a provider. No. Your husband is supposed to be a provider. We out of whack. Iyanla Van Zandt told y'all was out of order, and nobody wanted to hear it.
So maybe I feel like with the submission thing, I feel like, because that's like a hot topic on the podcast world with submission, but we keep telling black women to submit to men that don't have their life together.
Who said that?
How can you submit? How can you submit to a man who doesn't submit to God? Everybody's not like you.
I understand that.
You are like in the rare percentage.
I get that.
You must know that there are a lot of black men who don't move like you, who are not successful, who don't want to go to school, who don't want to do anything with their life, who don't have any finances, who don't have any ambition, who have nothing to offer but some dick.
Okay.
So how can you keep telling? Let's talk about it, because let's talk about it. Black women are in record numbers going to college. We're opening.
And I think what she just brought out, that is probably the biggest problem, is that these men who have no dreams, no aspiration, no goals, who are not driven, who are not trying to accomplish anything, And all they really trying to effectively do is create more children, more out of more children. They just trying to drop off more seed, right? And whatever, whoever, whenever. And these pookies, these jacked up men, these jacklegs, they are the issue. They are the true problem. You understand what I'm saying? But they also bring inspiration. And the reason why I say that is because they inspire men to be better, right? It's men like myself and a lot of you out there inspired to be better. A lot of you avoid a lot of different things because you inspired to be better by these men who aren't inspired, has no aspirations to do anything but make society a worse place, right? Same thing with the women, and inspires the women to have standards, reasonable standards. Is he a visionary or is he a dreamer? These dreamers who seem to have no forward motion, who are not going anywhere in life, of course, those are individuals that you are inspired to stay away from. Now, the individuals who are visionaries, understanding the vision, having the map, the blueprint, all of that stuff to get to the vision, to get to the back, to get what they need to get to and accomplish what they need. Those are the individuals that you support, you build up at all costs, because those are rare breeds. A lot of men who step and operate as visionaries need all the support they can get, dabbling in the world. But these individuals who are dreamers, who are just running around here playing video games and dropping off children, that's what the system is designed for. It's designed for men like that who don't want to show up, who ain't been great fathers, who ain't been trying to be present. That's what the scripture means by individuals who do not want to take care of their seed. They're worse than a vagabond. Is men like that who have no care, right? Will impregnate a woman and move on and have no care. Those rolling stones, right? Things like that. Have no care, no desire to even be in the child's life. Those individual men are worse than a vagabond. They are infidels, worse than an infidel, right? Not the ones who are desperate to do it or love to do it. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing is that let's continue.
Degrees. We're getting accolades. We're running nonprofits. There's a large portion of Black women who are educating themselves and taking their lives to the next level, while the Black men are not reaching those goals. They're not meeting us on those levels.
Black women are the largest group of entrepreneurs.
That's actually pretty funny, Brother Odell. Like, I guarantee you, he probably loves rap music, right? You know, he's wearing Louis Vuitton, looking like a walking billboard. Listen, yeah, he probably listens to a lot of rap music, which oddly, a lot of Caucasian young people support rap music. They love rap music. They love trap music. A lot of support a lot of these artists get are from Caucasian, our young Caucasian individuals, right? Men, boys, you know what I mean? Which is very interesting, right? It just is what it is. But they get a lot of support from the community, but in the community, it stops right there. It stops at the music for them. You understand what I'm saying? This is actual real life for a lot of us who are melanated, but it stops at the music for the ones who are fans, right? The Caucasian people who are fans. It doesn't influence their community. Like I said before, you have George Floyd. You have Black communities, melanated communities, burnt to the ground, literally. Black-owned businesses burnt to the ground, literally. Then on the other hand, you got Charlie Kirk. You have visuals, you have wakes, you have gatherings in church, right? With candlelit visuals. You understand what I'm saying? Peaceful things, peaceful, silent protests. You know what I mean? Things like that. Statues being built, things like that, right? It's two totally different responses to very similar events, right? Where Charlie Kirk, that was way more brutal, in my opinion, because listen, he was shot on live TV in front of a lot of people from the world, honestly. So two different responses. Then you have creation of BLM, Black Lives Matter, who has effectively done nothing for the community. but they've made millions upon millions of dollars, right? Multi-millions of dollars, have done nothing effective for the community at all, have not done anything. They've done plenty for the LGBTQ and the alphabet soup community. They've done plenty for themselves and getting mansions and all this other stuff, but they don't fight for anybody in the community. They don't do anything that affects and enacts any real change, right? But yeah, so let's continue, y'all.
They also have more degrees. There are more black women in the C-suite. And to quote Dr. Umar Johnson, you don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
It's very suspicious.
You don't find that suspicious?
Go ahead.
You don't find
Let
that
me finish.
suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Black women also have the majority and the highest rate of student loan debt, which means your debt to income ratio is shot. Problem number one. Problem number two is you spend all that time getting these things on you and not getting any learning in you. Having more degrees than a thermometer does not mean that you understand the temperature of our people.
Come on now.
On top of that, I don't need a degree to tell you I'm a man. Most of my degrees are sitting in the drawer and the rest of them are at my mama's house in Arizona. I ain't seen them. It don't matter. Everything I learned in college was about happening outside of the classroom.
But you went to college, though.
Hold on.
You went to college, though.
I went to college to please my mother. I had a record deal. I was singing backgrounds for Teddy Pendergrass. Let's tell the whole story, not just the parts you like. And
but
most
you still
of us,
went to college.
again, most of us, black men specifically, go to college out of pressure from their mamas and their grandmamas, not because it's something to do to better themselves. The school industrial complex is made for black women. There have been several studies on this that talk about how young black boys are automatically labeled as behavior problems. They were labeled as educable mentally retarded back when Les Brown was in school, and that's going all the way back to the 50s. Then you sit up there and you put them in the programs, then you double down on their reading scores so that you know how many prisons to build. Everything is set up to make sure you rise and think that you are now above us, as opposed to realizing that there's a conspiracy to separate you from me.
So how do we...
Come on now. And this is what I'm saying. Ladies, listen up. Let me tell you the truth about that young black boy, black child that you have right now, right? Let me tell you all the truth, right? In every community, really. I think that a lot of other communities believe this and identify this as being true already. But it just seems like my community, the melanated community, are suffering from understanding. That young black boy, or that young boy, period. I'm going to say boy because the young boy that you're raising that's growing up in your presence right now, you got to know. I'm going to say boy because I want it to apply to all communities, not just my community. Is adventurous. It's not somebody who's designed to sit in a classroom. Boys or men are designed to conquer. They're designed to learn with their hands, literally with physical learning. You understand what I'm saying? This is what has been instilled in us since the beginning of time. It is how we operate. What is the curse of Adam? Is the work by the sweat of your brow, right? But also, what was the task that was given to him when he first was formed from the dirt? It was to till the land. It was to take care of the cattle, all the creation on the earth. What was Eve's job was to what? Help meet the needs of Adam. So you got to understand, when a woman is help meeting the needs, the man is going out and doing what? He's going hunting. He's bringing back a kill. And then he's prepping it, right? He's dressing it, field dressing it, getting everything together, brings it into the house. And that's where his work stops. It should stop. And you as a woman pick up those two and you make a meal out of what he just brought home, right? You got to understand there's a difference. A young woman who can sit in a classroom is honestly designed to be able to be there. She's designed to sit in a classroom and learn. A lot of them, majority of them are, and they're really good at it. That doesn't make you superior. It makes you an asset. It makes you a resource. It makes you somebody who can provide to the right man who you know, and you know that you can provide to those assets. Hey, I got a degree in this, that, and that. You get these degrees means that you're certified in something, but not even you still can claim that you're 100% efficient in what your degree holder is and whatever degrees you hold, right? I've had a thing as to it. Listen, how is it that an accountant would still need my guidance and my leadership, right? And she went to school and got her degree in being an accountant. You still need me to guide you and lead you on how to properly manage your money, right? Because you're a woman. It's still going to be a thing. You're still going to need guidance from a man. You're still going to need that leadership from a man, from the right man. I'm not saying any man. I'm saying the right man who's willing to provide it. I don't care how many degrees you have. You still need guidance. You still need leadership. You still need to provide those degrees to the right man who can build with that, right? Who can take your degrees and create a six-figure, multi-million-dollar corporation or company with all the degrees that you're able to acquire. You're still going to need a man to be able to make that happen for you. A lot of you can do it on your own, but a lot of you who can do it on your own, you don't have a man to help you with it. A lot of you are single still to this day, and you're a power earner who took all your degrees and created this six-figure business, multi-million-dollar business and corporation, but you got a cat at home. You got a cat at home that you got to feed, not a man. You popping cans of meow, right? Of cat chow. You're not preparing sirloin steaks for your man who's at home waiting for you. You're living a life of being lonely because you embarked on a masculine journey that had you take on this go-getter mentality, masculine mentality, and which most men do not settle for that. Most men are not attracted to that. Your success does not mean our success, but your success, and we're able to utilize that to create even more success as we are creators, innovators. That right there is the way to go, right? Unifying in that way is a beautiful thing to do. Strengthen the men, right, in the communities, because a lot of other cultures do it, Black woman, right? A lot of other cultures of women have degrees in strengthening the men in their communities, right? It's time for you to step that up and do it too, but for the right man. Be sure that you got the right individual, not somebody who has no plan for their life, no future, right? A visionary who is very go-getter mentality, who grinds, who takes care, who sacrifices and focus. Yeah, you know what to look for, right? If you don't know what to look for, you got to learn from somebody who's trusted what to look for. Let's continue, though. Let's continue, y'all.
Fix it is what I'm trying to get at.
I had to, first of all, you sat up there and gave me a 30-minute dissertation on how great Black women were doing, but the second I
support my Black women, that's all.
I support Black women.
Support Black men
Here's
too,
the thing. The majority of my clients, the majority of my executive staff, my man Ricardo Cordial, who's been a client of mine for 5 years, he will tell you the majority of the people in my executive team are Black women. I have put more Black women in the 1% than Nick Cannon with a bag of Viagra. So this is not about supporting Black women.
Okay.
There's a woman named Anissa Getna who had a nursing business and she had a credit business, and she went and bought her husband. By the time I was done with her, she went and bought her husband a car dealership, then moved to South Africa. She got an AT&T grant. So when it comes to supporting Black women, I don't talk about it, I be about it. So that's not the issue. The issue is we need to fix it by divorcing ourselves from their agenda, which is educate our women, make them feel so high up because they got the C-suite positions, they got the degrees, they got the jobs that they put them in, while they disqualify us underqualify us, tell us we can't do anything, take all of the skilled labor out, and then when they don't take the skilled labor out, they sit there and then make it look like there's something wrong with that. Even look at the movies. There's been Tyler Perry movies where the dude is a mechanic. The least watched Tyler Perry movie is what? Daddy's Little Girls, because God forbid you see a responsible single father and a baby mama who decided that a drug dealer, a YN, is better than a dude that works hard every day, because that's not sexy enough to brag for your friends. Wow. You have to understand that this is a psychological op that is played on so many levels that nobody wants to talk about it. So the solution is we go independent, we reject our trash, we stop taking in every piece of bad bitch bullshit that we get. We start looking at the fact that we don't have one black-owned record company, but we got all these black record labels run by palm-colored people with little hats on the back of their heads telling us how we should operate, and then they sit down with Charlemagne and say, oh, well, I just got to eat. Leor Cohen, you've eaten, bro. You created a 360 deal. Y'all don't want to do payday loans, but what the hell you think a record deal is?
Talk to him about the
Man, he going in. Listen, and honestly, he ain't wrong. Y'all tell me where is he hitting on no notes? Let's sound like you. We're gonna move on to the next thing, but listen, he's hitting on every key note, every key point. He's definitely making those points very well known, and I believe he's articulating them very well for somebody who literally came from the background he's come from. I think there's a lot that we need to consider. Listen, we spent this time to be able to address some of the core issues within any community, right? But like I said, it's more publicized when it comes to the melanated or black community. But we're addressing these things because we need to understand the level of importance it is to build up our men, to build up our women, to not degrade them or tear them down, not to show forth levels of disrespect to try to demean them, put them down, belittle the black men, right? Or the man in general, because it happens in a lot of communities, not just ours. But like I said, in the melanated or black community, it's heavily publicized. So I'm gonna address that, and plus it's my community. So, but what we're gonna do here is honestly, we're gonna get into some of these things here. My thing is this, right? With this particular topic, we can go on and on about the situation and the truth of the matter. And I believe that it would enact and affect some changes within our personal households, within our community sex groups, right? To where we can be able to flip a lot of this stuff that's going on in our communities, a lot of this stuff that's really a real problem for us right now, and will continue to cause more issues and more problems because what the scripture said, what about these children, that they will come twofold more the child of hell, right? Than their parents were. We need to be sure we're reversing that, and we ourselves aren't creating more issues, more problems. All right, we're gonna go ahead and dive into some of the hot news that we got out here, right? Hot news of the week, some of the things that I've noticed out there. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's go and get into it. We had a couple situations that actually took place, okay? One of the main core situations, I believe, is that a lot of people don't know, man. Listen, Donald Trump recently put out a video, and he took a look at it. Like, you guys got to see this, right? I'm going to be playing it for you in a minute. Donald Trump put out an AI video in regards to what's going on in Gaza. Now, Gaza, we all know that Gaza is all in shambles. It's in ruins. There's nothing going on that's very good in Gaza. In fact, it is very, very messed up. Like, honestly, they've destroyed a lot, right? But I believe that this thing has been done systematically. And a lot of people do suspect so because, the whole thing was like a plan from the get-go. Israel obviously had a plan. And we're starting to see that plan start to unfold, to come to fruition. Now we're starting to see that individuals like Donald Trump is making moves to do what? To establish a new city in Gaza. Let's take a look at some of these things real quick and see what he's talking about, because I think it's important. It's important for us to be able to see. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you. I had it ready for y'all, but you know how it goes sometimes when you got to reset. My desktop, my laptop died, so Let's go ahead and pull this thing up. Where we at? Boom. Okay, let's go. Listen, this is interesting, right? When I saw this, I was like, wow, this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous. But let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's going on here, y'all.
Tunnels coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza number one. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza number one.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad, this could be so magnificent.
All right, so y'all see that, of course, this is the AI video and what was created in regards to Trump Gaza, the city that he's inspired to want to develop. And as you see, like, take a look at this, man. This is crazy. Elon Musk is over there having eaten whatever, doing anything. Obviously, you know, this is for the wealthy, right? And which, you know, it is what it is, those who got the money for it. But look, this is what it's all about. It's all about capitalizing. It's all about war being a way to capitalize. But I really want you guys to take a look at this statue. And it's what's really important to take from this. It's not only the love of money, love of wealth, love of resources, Trump Gaza. Look at this statue made of pure gold, right? Really putting this man on a certain pedestal, a certain level that he does not deserve. You guys got to know that this right here is idolatry, right? And we got this big gold statue of Trump. And I'm just saying, like, maybe we should refrain from this level of idolatry, this level of symbolically calling him like a golden calf, right? The same golden calf that was done or built or crafted back during the times where the children of Israel wandered the desert, and they were, you know, of course, set from Egypt. It's sort of like a golden calf type of situation right now, to where, you know, you see this big gold statue of Trump. Now, it's very interesting because he's recently won a award, a peace award. And I believe that, you know, this ties directly into the situation. And I see that Brother Odell said, watch, this is going to be a oil grab. Listen, I can't disagree with that, right? Two parties, two wings of the same bird. Yeah, absolutely. They got the same mission, maybe different type of beliefs and what they believe in, but same mission, right? But this is where it kind of gets a bit weird, right? Because now we got him who he's winning certain prizes.
Living in the last seconds of,
and it's getting odd because, you know, they're capitalizing on this thing big. If you destroyed Gaza, right? And this has been going on for decades, where Israel, right, who claims to be the true Israelites, these people have been doing this for a long time, y'all. Since they got over there, there has not been rest. There has not been peace. They've been constantly at these people for quite some time now. And the reason why you and I can't discuss this type of thing, the reason why you and I can't talk about it as much and it's not more mainstream, is because they'll have your full career. They'll have you literally, there's a lot that they will do to harm you, right? And that's the reason why a lot of people refuse to speak on this topic, because it's just not worth it. My thing is that everybody should be held at a certain level of accountability. And yeah, they do quite a bit. Israel, so-called Jewish, not all Jews, but I'm saying the Zionists, those people who believe in Zionism, those individuals have a lot to do with a lot of what's going on in society right now. right? Including this Trump Gaza thing. Now, if they waged war, if they done everything that they did, because in all of this genocide, mass genocide that's going on, and the amount of lives that have been lost, if this was all because they can be able to develop and grow this city, right, to make it something of the next Dubai, you understand what I'm saying? Then that is diabolical. It's absolutely wicked and evil. But let's take a look at a broader spectrum as to what could truly be going on right now during this time. And he's receiving these peace awards, global peace awards. I'm not saying that he's the Antichrist, y'all. I'm just saying things are kind of getting a little bit more suspicious now.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Let's take a look as to what
now
else is
living
taking
in the
place
last
here.
seconds of the last days. And what that means is we at least have to be open to the possibility that we are being deceived on an unprecedented level. I recently did 2 videos talking about Trump, just essentially asking some questions, raising some concerns, because there have been some inconsistencies. There have been some recent red flags that I've seen. There's just some things that don't sit right with me. And those videos really showed me that I am not the only one that feels this way. This is one of the things that didn't sit right with me, and we're gonna zoom in on that plaque. Here it is, Covenant of Peace Award to the Prince of Peace, President Donald J. Trump. This is the Bible verse that is actually on
The Prince of Peace, y'all. The Prince of Peace, Donald J. Trump. That struck me as odd, y'all. Very odd that this would be saying this while they're giving him this, I guess, Nobel Peace Prize, right? This award for whatever they feel he did to bring peace, right? I find that to be very strange, don't y'all? Man, listen, put a W in the chat if you agree with that this is very odd that they would write this and use this terminology. Put an L in the chat if you agree, man. He the Prince of Peace. From what I'm understanding, it's Yeshua. It's Jesus. That is the Prince of Peace. He is the Prince of Peace. But they got this dialogue, this rhetoric in here saying that Donald Trump is the Prince of Peace. What is really going on? Now, my thing is this, right? It's going to be subtle things that are taking place. It ain't going to be out front in your face, yo. When you think that the son of perdition, right? When you think that an antichrist spirit is going to take place or come on the scene, do you believe that this spirit or that this entity is going to be very obvious or boisterous about his desires or whatever he's doing? Do you believe that it's going to be obvious and easy to identify? If you believe that it is, then why would the very elect why would they be compromised, or a possibility that they could be compromised, right, and deceived, that they may even deceive the very elect of us during these times, because the deception is real, and it's gonna come in as though you like you wouldn't know. Like I keep saying, the individuals that you don't have to have an issue with are the people who let you know who they are. It's the atheists. It's the ones who don't believe the same way you do. The ones who don't believe that there is a mighty one, that there is an Elohim at all. You know what to expect from them. But the ones who can truly deceive you are the ones who are moving like you, on a capacity that you're moving, right? Those are the ones who you gotta kind of really be interested in as to what they're doing, understanding their fruit. Are they being somebody who is hiding things, right? Are they being honest? Are they being open? Are they being right out front? You ask them a question, they answer the question for you. What are they doing? How are they operating? Are they obviously deceiving people, fleecing the flock, right? Let's go ahead. Let's continue with this real quick, but I want to play it back a little bit. Play it back. Let's continue with this.
recent red flags that I've seen. There's just some things that don't sit right with me.
Red flags.
And those videos really showed me that I am not the only one that feels this way. This is one of the things that didn't sit right with me, and we're gonna zoom in on that plaque. Here it is, Covenant of Peace Award to the Prince of Peace, President Donald J. Trump. This is the Bible verse that is actually on the menorah. It says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." This is actually really insane if you think about it. They just said that he's the Messiah. Now, I want to make it very clear again that I am not saying that Trump is the Antichrist, and I never will. All I am pointing out is there's just odd things going do because you trust what he is doing, you trust his every move. And I understand that. I respect it because I used to be there myself. But let me just be very blunt and very honest in this video. Y'all, we are living in the last seconds of the last days. The last seconds of the last days. We are literally living in the beginning of the book of Revelation. And the word of God, the Bible, scripture is very clear about what comes next. This is from a video that Trump himself posted. It is an AI video put together about his coming soon Trump Gaza. I'll play the video here in a second. It is literally only 30 seconds, but I just have to say this, and this is going to be very blunt, but I say it with love. If you do not see who this man really is after this video, or just even by looking at this picture, then you are deceived. The Bible scripture, y'all, is so very clear about what would happen in the last days. It says that deception would be at an all-time high, that deception would be so great that if possible, even the very elect will be deceived. And that is exactly what is playing out right in front of our eyes.
Donald is coming to set you free.
Oh, snap. My apologies, y'all. Dang. I was going to appreciate it. Yes, sir. Okay, so we back. Thanks for calling me. All right. We got 0 on auto. All right, so let me start from the top, y'all. My apologies. So you hear this coming through, right? And you hear him saying the things that are key words, key triggers of saying that, of course, freedom, things to set you free is what it's talking about in this whole situation. Freedom, setting free, all these other things, right, that it's talking about. We obviously hear it saying it. We see the AI video that he reposted. Obviously, he is in agreement with whatever's taking place in it. And I'm not saying that he's the Antichrist, but I'm saying a lot of the characteristics are lining up with what was taken, what was explained, right? We know from the word, it teaches us and it tells us that this individual will rebuild a temple, rebuild the temple, and will go into this temple, tear something down within the temple, and then build a statue of himself in that temple to glorify, to worship himself. And I'm saying a lot of characteristics are lining up with that, right? Not only that, being the Prince of Peace, coming in peace. Honestly, what does this truly signify? What does this truly represent when somebody is coming as though they are the Messiah, but they are a false Messiah, right? You have them depicting him as a Messiah, as the Messiah, right? When they say that he is the Prince of Peace, because that was the title. That was what Yeshua held, is the title of being the Prince of Peace, right? Yeshua or Jesus holding this title of being the Prince of Peace. That's what he was. That's what he is. Now you have these individuals calling Trump the Prince of Peace, right? As he said, many shall come in my name and shall deceive many. But when we're identifying this, we know that the Antichrist would come and perform as though he is the Messiah, just not the characteristics that came from Yeshua's return, right? Of cracking that sky open, everybody knowing that it's him. These characteristics are missing. But he will come up on saying, and is it going to be obvious? Do y'all really believe that it's going to be an obvious situation? That it's going to be obvious to determine if this person is the Antichrist or not? It's going to be an obvious thing. It's going to be so out there in front of your face that it is undeniable. This person is definitely who it is. Or is this person going to creep in unawares, right? Are they going to creep in unawares? You're not going to know for sure if it's the time or not. You're not going to know the time of the hour, what's truly going on. But I can say a lot of these characteristics are damn sure lining up. They're lining up. They're becoming more and more obvious after witnessing this whole situation, after witnessing everything that she's speaking about and that's taking place right now when it comes to Donald Trump. And I'm just going to be honest about that, right? I mean, I agree with conservative values. I agree with the conservative beliefs. But, I also know for sure that a religious group can obviously lift somebody up on a pedestal. You see it all the time with the Vatican, right? You see it all the time with the Vatican. Part of that deception be part of New Age deception. Yeah. A lot of this stuff, you hear a lot of people who are joining this Ifa type of religious group or belief system that comes from ancient African practices that holds other deities or other mighty ones. It's really becoming a very popular faith or belief, whatever it may be, whatever you may want to call it, as to where, of course, our Messiah is constantly trampled on, right? They'll refrain from talking bad about Gandhi or talking bad about a lot of these other individuals who people worship, right? Buddha or whatever it is. But it just seems like Yeshua or Jesus, the Messiah, is the only one who takes on all of the scrutiny, all of the bashing, all of the tearing down, the prosecution that's going on around the world for people who believe in Yeshua, who believe in Jesus on a certain level, right? These individuals are being prosecuted right now this day. They're waging war. Now, that war that they wage ain't just based on physical war. It's chemical warfare. It's intellectual warfare, right? It's all these different things that we can all agree and identify is still warfare, but just because it's not in your face doesn't mean it ain't taking place, right? Biological warfare. Listen, trying to sterilize you, right? And keep your numbers down, replacing you with AI robots. It's easier to deal with a community of people who are not unified, right? So being able to feed you with certain understandings, right, of things that do not promote unity, that'll keep you at odds and separated, is the best result, is the best thing for them to do to be sure that they can strengthen their position, right? Their numbers are few. So all of this deception that's taking place, all of this deception that's going on in the world, listen, last thing that we need is to learn how to be a leader or have an advice or encouragement from individuals who believe themselves to be a great leader, but they're actually showing forth real proof that they are not, that they actually fleece the flock. We don't need to learn from individuals who are making mistakes, okay? And I want to listen in on a particular conversation, and I want to do it because I want to provide clarity and understanding. We still got an individual out here who needs to have an understanding as to why people suffer. We do as well. We need to identify these things for ourselves based on our past, our history, what we've experienced. The deception that is on the rise, okay? The deception that is on the rise is that of somebody who wishes to deceive you while pretending or masquerading to be just like you. But by their fruits you shall know them. Let's go ahead and dive into this thing, y'all. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and dive into this thing, y'all. Let me get my timestamp. We're going to dive into this because my thing is that I want to provide a clarity, right? And you know, this right here is we're gonna go ahead and transition into this thing. Man. Let me show you guys my screen. So I really wanted to show this and talk about this because it's important. I think it's important because not only are we needing to learn from this, but also the individual who's speaking. And y'all know, Dowell, once again here, who's speaking about a certain topic and situation where he has literally leaped over the understanding. The only way you can understand why people aren't doing certain things, Dowell, is if you actually ask the individuals who suffered from it. Then you can have a much better understanding as to why. Then you can have a much better understanding as to why. Let's go ahead and get to timestamp 4:38. I want to start right there. I want you guys to hear what he had to say. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have already listened in on this particular video, but I thought it was pretty interesting how he asked his questions or how he made his statements. Let's go ahead and listen in to what he has to say real quick. Let's go.
I've always said this all the way across the ministry, and this is how people can end up in bondage. I would say, listen, there's an open door policy to every leader, including myself. And if you got something going on, you don't think that, it's just not quite right, use it. Well, they would never do that. And mind you, I will often frequent these communities. And at times I walk with the brothers and sisters, I say, y'all got anything y'all want to discuss with me, anything? Nope, everything's fine, when everything really wasn't fine. And so the leaders, what they would do is they would say, well, Pastor Dowell is coming, and if you got anything to say, you may want to discuss it with me right now, because you want to wait till he gets here to discuss it. You may not like the judgment that may come from it. And what it is that what they're doing is they're trying to intimidate the people through fear.
All right, so now he's talking about Mitchell, okay? Let's be frank. He's not going to name names, but I'll tell you who he's talking about. He's talking about Mitchell. He's talking about Mitchell and how he handled his community, how he handled his folks, how he handled his people. And can I disagree with him on this? No, I cannot. You understand what I'm saying? I can't disagree with Dowell on this position that he's having when it comes to Mitchell, when it comes to the way Mitchell conducts himself with his people. Me, myself, I've been a direct result of that. Honestly, I was trying to avoid Mitchell in the conflict that I was trying to resolve because I knew that Mitchell would take a position that would undercut it, that would sweep it under the rug, things like that. I knew that he would do so, right? So I was trying my best to avoid him, in which Dowell himself still sent Mitchell to handle the situation. We went to Dowell directly, but Mitchell was still sent by Dowell. Now, this is the reason why I know it, because, like I said, Mitchell did the same thing with myself. He swept it under the rug. He made excuses for the whole thing, and it was just to protect the individual people that he was currently trying to protect. Whoever his boys was, whoever he ran with, he was just trying to insulate and protect that situation. Didn't want to make himself look bad, because of course he was supposed to be watching over or overseeing the community or the people, the group that's in Houston. He's supposed to oversee that group. So he didn't want to make himself look bad. And he also didn't want to make other individuals in that group look bad. So he was able to effectively make an excuse and sweep it under the rug. So this is who he's talking about. But let's continue, though, of course, because he's talking about him and others in this video.
To not mention some of the things and the failures of some parts and a portion of leadership traits, or we're going to call it that, let's say shortcomings that was going on in that particular community. And they would come up with creative ways like, hey, I think I'm missing the mark or something like that. Here's Pastor Dowell's phone number. You can pick up and call him. But I'm telling you one thing, well, you better have your ducks in order and you better make sure you're right, because, man, you're about to deal with the repercussions. What they were doing was massaging these people to fear. And
that's absolutely right. Massaging to fear, to understand that you better be sure that whatever you got going on needs to be way up here and everything, to be able to shut their mouths, to be able to control their speech, to be able to control them with anything that they had issues with. That's the reason why a lot of this wickedness was able to perpetuate in this particular ministry. It was able to do so based on the leadership that was in place during the time, or at the time, and currently right now to this day. Kabir Bajabiamila ain't no better. He's the same type of person. You hear the testimonies over on Brother Jordan's channel and platform. It's the same situation of manipulation, of coercion into being able to do what their will is. There's nothing different. You understand what I'm saying? And those who are a part of this ministry and partook in that, right, have now since come out of it. A lot of the leaders have come out of it and now are trying to walk in healing, right? In which that's something totally different. But they realized what the wickedness truly was. At the time, they were in, I guess, alignment with it, in agreement with it. So my thing is that this still takes place in Straightway Truth Ministries. It still takes place in other cults, religious cults, Scientology, other places. You understand what I'm saying? Methodist Church. It's still going on. Jehovah's Witnesses. These people are still doing the same exact thing, using the same exact tactics. This thing came back from all the way back from the beginning, guys, like R.G. Stair and all these other people who are coming up like that. These are the same tactics, the same motives, the same moves, to where the people who are truly seeking the face of the Most High are the ones who must suffer, because they're looking for fellowship to grow with the Father, to grow a relationship with him. But he's identifying stuff based on individuals who's already left his ministry. No, the leadership that's currently there are still perpetuating the same evil. That's still silencing the voice of the people. That's still tearing people down and tearing their families apart, separating individuals, right? Usurping the authority of the Most High Yah, not truly operating in the spirit of the Most High, but pretending and masquerading as individuals who are supposed leaders in the Hebrew Israelite community. I say no, absolutely not. So now you're talking about individuals who left, but truly is still present within your ministry. And the things that you need to do to enact and effect a change, you're not willing to do it. Or are you, Dow? Are you willing to do it? You made mention of how I invited you on. Of course, I never begged you. But of course, you made mention of how I invited you onto the Warsheep podcast. Listen, that was an opportunity. That was an opportunity of a lifetime for you, Dow. As we take a look at a lot of different things that's going on the land, not only this prior feast, we saw the photo, of course. You got half the people that you had the prior year. Half of the people dropped out of this ministry. Half of them. Probably a little over half. The numbers has dwindled down. And I believe that the reason why that you coming onto the Warsheep podcast would have been a great look for you was to answer for some of the things that you've been accused of, but also to restore and regain faith, to regain respect and honor from the people, understanding that when you say you truly don't duck no smoke because Mama Dowell and Papa Dowell didn't raise no cowards, that you truly mean that and you stand by that, and you give it an opportunity for people to be restored and have peace in what mess that you've influenced. And the reason why I said you've influenced it is because a lot of it you didn't create directly. A lot of it, the people you've placed in leadership created the mess. And your lack of care, your lack of attention, your lack of wanting to be charitable, to show forth the adequate amount of attention is what influenced the mess. Because now these particular individuals believe that they can do whatever they would like to do. And you won't check them. So the people will gain confidence in you as being the head honcho at Straightway if you stepped in and checked your leadership whenever they were out of pocket, out of line. And you did so in such a fashion that was unbiased. That shows that you are somebody that's for the people. If the people are hurting, we all are hurting. And if you step in to be that man who's going to check your own leadership about things that they're doing wrong for the people, then guess what? They can regain more confidence in you as a leader. So while you're teaching how to be a leader, lessons to be learned as a leader, there's another lesson for you. Stepping in. Let's continue, though. Let's continue to listen to what he has to say.
And in this, they were saying, look, I'm close to Pastor Dowell. I know how he deals and stuff like this. And I'm telling you, what y'all got right now, man, it ain't too valid, but hey, you can go ahead and do it if you want to. See, what they did was they put a stumbling block in front of them and try to paint me in a light or paint me in a picture that is really not me at all. And of course, I've been used to that. And most people I ask, why come, lately I just don't even revile anymore, revile back anything, because I want to make sure that when the Most High does his work, that I'm not interfering in it, because he does a real good job. I've got to follow, and I have followed my own advice, like that lions does not concern themselves with the opinions of dogs, or I just don't, because there's no need in it. There's no need in it. My life is not centered and focused around people who have fallen away and people who have deceived the hearts of the simple by good words and fair speeches. There's a lot of people that have reached out and
I don't believe it was good words and fair speeches. I believe it was your actions. You take a look at Big Screen B, he used nothing but your own language and what you said against you. It ain't no good words and fair speeches. It's just shedding light on the darkness, the truth of it, the reality of it. Some people got to get shook awake. Sometimes you got to provide the shock factor, the awe factor for people to say, you know what, something is truly wrong here. There truly is a problem here. But using your own details against you, never said that you were 501c3. In fact, you adamantly spoke against 501c3s. Later to be found out in your sin of lying, you are truly a 501c3, right? So that's one of the biggest things. We can't place the blame or shift the blame on people who left your ministry. The buck stops with you. You can be able to insult as many individuals that you placed in positions of leadership, but you're still the one who chose to put them there. You're still the one who made that decision. You're still the one who ordained them. Regardless, nevertheless, it still reflects back on you, because you're the leader. You're the one who wants to be the head honcho. All of that burden is on you now. So it's easy to come talk about them, but what part do you play in this? Let's continue.
They know that they see what is going on. They've been fooled. I've been fooled once, and I'll never, ever, ever be fooled again. And I may bring some of these brothers on and let them give you their own experiences and stuff. But the one thing I've learned, that if you are a jackal, if you're some type of bandit, and if you're running dirty, the first thing you want to do is get out in front of the story, persuade and sway the minds of people as much as you can against the one who they ought to trust in. get them to build up a negative connotation, negative feeling, negative emotion, and even take on your offense. And then that way you can defile people as they go. And so that way.
So it sounds like he just gave away his game plan, his MO, right? That's what he likes to do. He likes to get out in front of the story. That's the reason why he came out and started talking about the situation over in Australia before my brother Abraham in Australia could be able to come out and talk about his own situation. He wanted to get out in front of the story. Lied to everybody. We brought the receipts. He said he never spoke to anybody, right? Not even one time. Didn't even speak to the sister. And it showed you in these receipts of him adamantly speaking to this sister through Marco Polo. So this is what I'm trying to understand is why are you giving your own game plan out to individuals, right? Why are you giving your own game plan out? That's your game plan. That's your MO. Nobody has to get in front of any story. Who's truly running dirty here? You understand what I'm saying? Who's truly running dirty? Let's continue.
If I or anybody else says anything other than that, that's it. They're already topped off to the zenith with offense. And that's the one thing that Pastor Dowell has always said this. And that goes with a lot of people on the internet that actually chooses to try to come out the straight way. They don't even know us. They don't even know me. Don't even know us, don't even know me. Bearing false witness is one of the commandments that people just flat out ignore, but the Most High is not ignoring. But nevertheless, there ain't a person out there, not one person on this earth can tell you what I have done negatively or wrong to them personally. They just went and took on somebody else's offense.
Wow. So in this, I'm going to assume that he's talking about myself. He's talking about the Warsheep podcast. He's talking about that and I'm taking on somebody else's offenses. In fact, I believe Elder Jim McClain sent you a full dissertation, a full email as to what you've been doing out here. Me, myself, if you're referring to me, Dow, you learned some of the more sensitive details of my previous marriage, right, with my ex-wife. Instead of getting the full story and full understanding, you rushed, I'm talking ran, sprinted into open format in front of all the congregation and literally put all of my private business out there. Somebody who's supposed to be in a position of leadership should never make decisions like that. Not unless it's something that is dire for everybody to be able to learn from. There's no reason why anybody should have known anything about that situation or that it actually took place. You were more concerned about talking about this, right, and exploiting the information, the business to everyone than you were concerned about my well-being. In fact, you're going to go on in this video to say that a brother who truly loves will help another brother if he's in his time of need. You didn't help me in my time of need, Dow. My time of need, listen, you said that, nobody could help me. Now, I effectively moved and I got it done and I overcame that, right? With very little help from some of the brothers that's in Michigan, right? They helped where they could. But their hands were tied because Dow put out the edict not to help, not to do anything for me, things like that. So my thing is this, right? The blatant disregard for privacy. You didn't show me any respect. You didn't show me any honor. You blasted my own stuff. And you've done it to many individuals. I'm not the only one. So, but if you're speaking about me, if that's one of the biggest things I can really bring to you right now, is that you chose to involve yourself in another man's private family matters. Later to find out that the woman that was being dealt with was probably not the most righteous woman. She's actually pretty wicked. In the situation that was taking place, she was being wicked. You find that out, and then you go and you plaster her face and her picture for all to see, and you bash her because you noticed that she went back to the world, went back to celebrating Christmas and all that other stuff and putting on makeup. And you put her picture up there and start blasting her. It's like, what involvement and direct? I didn't ask you to do any of this. I didn't ask you to get involved in this level. I didn't ask you to start letting everybody in the congregation know of what was going on in my private family matters. I didn't ask you to do it. You took it upon yourself. I believe that that was extremely distasteful. I believe that that was extremely disrespectful. And there was no need for you to have done that. But when your private life, when your things, the things that you've done wrong, when they're being blasted in open format, you don't like it. You don't like it very much. So I believe that that is the Most High coming to give you what you've sown. You're reaping that. Just to think about it, right? The same guy who you exploited, who you made a spectacle of, right, in his private marriage, the same guy who you done that, and I supported you, regardless on what you gave me when I first met you. You gave me $300, Dowell, and you looked out for me big time. In return, I gave you thousands of dollars. On one occasion, I gave you $1,000 straight, but you've received thousands of dollars from me. Just that one act of kindness. And when I thought you were a man of humility, of character, it turned into a certain slander fest that I never agreed to. I never agreed to you doing that in open format. I think that you should remain out of people's private family business, because I'm not the only one you've done that to. I think you should refrain from starting drama and beef online. And you just go out your way to do that. You can ask Yaki. You just made him an enemy out of nowhere. You can ask Pete Rambo. You can ask Pastor Joe Fox. A lot of these individuals where you just blatantly, just honestly, abruptly, really, not even blatant, abruptly just made them enemies and started to bash them in open format. Geno Jennings. A lot of these individuals, you just want their following. Geno Jennings, you just wanted his following. You wanted his following. So you wanted to bash him for the things like divorce and remarriage, because a lot of these men don't want to be held under that, right? So they listen to you, and they've been enticed and influenced to listen to you because something they disagree with Geno about, which that's between them and Geno. But you went in on Geno Jennings in hopes that you'd gain his following as much as you can. So, my thing is this, right? Is that the truth is what the truth is always going to be. No one's actively giving you permission to speak on their private family matters. That's the reason why you had to remove my video, my testimonial video that I did with my ex-wife off of your channel, off of all of your associated channels, because I didn't give you permission to go out here and just blast all of that private information. You get to still earn an income, and you get to still make money off of something that I did. You get to still make money off of this. You get to still earn income off of somebody else's troubles, right? And that's the biggest thing. That I want to be sure that when I speak on these situations, that the next family that comes and it meets you here on YouTube or anywhere else can understand the possibility of their family being destroyed by you because of this public scrutiny, this public blasting, outing, whatever it may be. And then the advice that was given by Straightway to my ex-wife on how to deal with certain situations, even though that wasn't going without for very long. Even though she may have lied to you guys' face, and I don't want to bash her. She was lost during the time. She was under certain influences during the time. And I don't want to bash her. I don't think that it would be healthy to do that. But at the time, she wasn't being guided very well by people, right? By certain so-called saints who were supposed to instruct her and encourage her to not only stick by my side, but to support me in what was going on until we can be able to do even better, right? Because it wasn't a lack of provisions. It wasn't a lack of. It wasn't the desire to not wanting to provide, right? when you move to a new city and you're planting roots into that city, it takes some time. Sometimes you might have a few setbacks, but then that setback, you got to come on back and come back stronger. Well, setback. And if your people understood how to handle situations like that, instead of causing conflict and separation between the families, you would seek to unite and unify and strengthen that marriage rather than go out here and publicly broadcast the pain, the struggles, whatever's going on. Not only that, running with something that was a complete lie. It wasn't the truth. It wasn't my fault, it was your fault. Elder Becker said that he informed you of what the truth really was. You never came and corrected yourself, Dowell. You just ran with the lie and kept the lie there until you've noticed the truth really did reveal itself. Then you decided to plaster her video up there on your TV and bash her. Bash my ex-wife, the mother of my children. If anybody was going to talk about that situation, it should have been me. You should have respected me enough to give me the space to speak about it openly, privately, publicly, whatever it may be. You didn't respect me. You didn't respect the space. You didn't respect the sacredness of that marriage and how you should stay out of it completely. But I'm not the only one you've done this to. You've done worse to other individuals in their marriage and their wives. So if you're speaking in regards to me, Dowell, and saying taking on other people's offenses, no, I don't have an offense. I've made peace with the fact that you would never really accept any real accountability for the things that you've done, for, publicly speaking on my private family matters without my consent at all, right? And then bashing the mother of my children without my consent at all, right? Just willingly doing it for yourself, for your views, for your clicks, for your ratings, for your congregation, to make yourself seem like you're more of a man than others. Whatever your goal was, you pursued it. And it wasn't because anybody needs to learn. It was because you just wanted to talk about it. So, when you're considering other people and you're saying that they're taking on somebody else's offense, it'll really behoove you to actually investigate where the person lies as to why they're so passionate about speaking truths about you while you're telling lies about others. Ooh. I feel like that I had a lot to say there, but I believe that it needed to be said, y'all. It needed to be said. I don't believe that needed to be held back. I believe that needed to be said. Let's continue. We're gonna finish this up here.
And it's just crazy. But the book is true. The book is true because when you have people that, for instance, they it's very tempting when you're in a leadership position and you're dealing with a lot of this money, all this money, and you're dealing with choices and decisions and stuff. Pride can easily come in upon you and make you think you're something when you're nothing. That's the reason why I would often frequent these communities and stuff, because I would go and see exactly what was going on. I could tell spiritually. And even when I opened up the door to actually speak to some of the people, and I would ask them, hey, you got anything? You got any concerns, anything like that? Oh, no. And I have to try to comprehend what kind of spell are the people under when you've got something you want to say, but you don't say it when you have the opportunity. I had one brother tell me I was an emasculated man. He told me this in Straightway, Georgia. I was an emasculated man and didn't even know it. And I said, I shook my head. I spoke with the brother after that, and now these brothers are strong. But a lot of people out there, man, they are diablos, they're deceivers, they're persuaders. They know how to persuade your mind and persuade your conscience in such a manner, in such a way, to make you think and to get you to think one way when it's really the other way. But again, if you're going to be a leader of an organization, my advice is this, is that you vet these leaders real close. And it would behoove you to do a background check. I never did do that. People do it on me all the time.
So my thing is this, y'all, and y'all heard what he just said. I'm not concerned about anything else he has to say in this video. Y'all go check it out. But my thing is this, y'all, is that he says, of course, checking in on these people at these communities and saying, hey, y'all got anything y'all need to talk about? And him opening up the door to be able to have an open door policy with these individuals. Listen, you got to understand, and I think that we all know that that so-called open door policy is a facade. It is not something that is tangible. It's not something that is real, because the moment that somebody speaks up or speaks out about anything that's going on is the moment that you are labeled to be a problem. You're labeled to be somebody who's contentious. You're labeled to be somebody who is unruly, or who is butthurt, who's all these other things, but you have not been labeled as being somebody who spoke up. So while you're doing this open door policy and checking in, so what's going on? You said that you discerned. Why didn't you discern of all these years? All these years, you said that you go and discern things. You ain't discerned nothing. You thought everything was fine. Other people were saying everything was fine, even though they may have been suffering, because of the simple fact that they tell you that something's wrong, and they live in this community that they themselves would have the toughest time, because you're not going to be there to defend them. You're not going to be there to stand in the gap. You're going to pass it off to the leader of that community. And guess what? That leader of that community is going to be the one to condemn that person, to tear them down, just as Kabir did to Jordan. While he was up there parading him in front of everybody in the community, talking bad about him in front of everybody, he had to just sit there and take it. So while you're talking and you're saying these things, these people are not safe in these communities. Just because you say, hey, you got anything, it don't mean that they gonna want to open themselves up to talk and discuss the problems that they're having in the community with you. It just means that they know, hey, I got to be sure they've already been mentally trained to not say anything, to not reveal certain things to you. You know why? Because you're not going to care enough. You're not going to handle it appropriately. You're going to pass it off to whoever you feel you need to pass it off to. The same people who are perpetuating the evil is the same people that you're having handle these situations. And nothing will effectively get done, but the person who's speaking up and being brave enough to say, hey, something's wrong here, are the same ones that's going to suffer when you're not around, when you're not checking into the situation, when you just passed it off and walked on and went on about your business. They swept it under the rug, and then now they're really coming down heavy on this individual who spoke up. Like I said, prime example is Jordan, brother Jordan. He spoke up, and look at where he at now. Look at what's going on with him now. Look what took place after he did that. He was made a target. He wasn't made somebody who was standing on business, standing on righteousness. No, he was targeted because he spoke up in regards to this fictitious contract you guys drew up. So if you really got the questions down, that's the true answer. You just got to take the time out to actually listen. Use your ears. What does it say in the scriptures? That what? You need to be quick to what? Quick to hear and slow to speak. You should be listening, not just trying to talk about it. All right, let's go on and dive into these comments a little bit, y'all, and then we're going to go ahead and land this plane. Man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me this long. Listen, we've been going in, man. We've been going in. And I had to cover a lot of these topics. So they are wicked. Yes, they are very. Straightway appears to operate like the Catholic Church. Confess to them, and they will use it when you leave. Yeah, confess to them. If you confess to them, yeah, they'll use it when you leave. Absolutely. When you're going through some of the toughest times, it's obvious that they're not going to want to pick you up. I mean, it's obvious. They're not going to want to be a true brother in that sense, right? If you got something that they want, especially, like, I don't know what the situation was at that time, And I truly didn't understand why blast my private information out to everybody. It made no sense to me. But you can definitely say that you can't trust them with that information, right? Whereas to where you'll go to a Christian church and at least a pastor will try to counsel you and your wife, right? And try to get you guys to work out your differences. Whereas to where you get the complete total opposite from a man who claims to be the shepherd, right? Who claims to be the shepherd, right? Complete opposite. He's looking to seeking to do things that divide and separate even more so. Make the matter that's already bad, make it worse by blasting it out there for all to hear, then blasting somebody's face up there and you know, blasting her for her decision to go back to the world. You know, it just is what it is. It wasn't nothing but poor communication, poor advice coming from people that were a part of your ministry, poor guidance, all of that, right? Instead of saying, hey, you didn't make this thing work with him. It's a come and pick her up and take her where she need to go type of situation. Now, a lot of people, individuals who are directly involved with Straightway, had had a hand to play in those decisions. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things, right? Making memories, new photos of Nelly. That's funny. Yeah, I definitely want to see that, man. You're gonna have to share that joint, man. Because I have not yet seen what everybody's been talking about in regards to the Marco Polo situation. Yeah, for sure. Where is Yoga Yoga at? Let's get Nelly's vacation photo. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's see. Trust the Most High. Seek the Spirit. You will be given understanding. If you're seriously seeking, that's true. 110%. Absolutely. Don't let anyone intimidate you. That's facts. That's facts. That equals cap. Yeah, because they are capping. They are capping when they say that. Don't let anybody intimidate you. Yeah, no. They're going to be intimidated, especially when they come to Dow and nothing gets done. The only thing that happens is that they get worse punishments and they get treated worse. All that other stuff, that's the only thing that takes place. But you went and took it over to Dow or you took it to somebody else in leadership, man, they ain't going to do nothing. They're going to, listen, sweep it under the rug. Hey, you need to handle this. And you're going to get treated like absolute trash. They doing it now. They're doing it now. You're going through that now. His open door policy is a front. That's right. That's true, though. But bless y'all, man. We're going to go ahead and land this plane here, man. I appreciate y'all joining me here for the Warsheep podcast. Listen, don't forget to like this video, this live stream, okay? And don't forget to comment and subscribe, right? And holler back at your boy, right? And holler back at your boy. You already know I'm like trying to work the camera. I want to be sure that we got it. We got what we need, right? But just remember, somewhere in the future, we all are healed. You are healed. You got to understand, you're restored somewhere in your future. If you are not restored right now, you will be, right? Just continue to stand on truth, speak on truth, and speak on the facts. Don't allow anything to hinder you or stop you from doing so. Like I said, my testimony, my experience, I'm using that to better others, especially if they have a family and they looking to join this particular cult-like ministry. Listen, they can be able to learn from my experience what to do and how to move. Now I can be a blessing to you. It's through the pain. It's through the experience. That's the only way I can be able to part ways with wisdom and give you something that may bless and save and keep your family tight-knit. As always, peace and love to you all, honestly, right? Let's get to this unity thing. And like I said, don't forget to share this live stream, like, comment, and subscribe. Holler back at your boy. We'll see you guys in the next stream, all right? Bless you. Peace and shalom, shalom.